We're doing it.
Oh, all right.
It's 9:20 anyway, which is what I allegedly told YouTube. Ow, no, please don't cough me. Coughing strains my brain meats.
You are live.
Okay, good. I don't need that extra copy of the thumbnail. It's full of stuff and pain, and none of you watched. Actually, no, that's not true. I think Axe actually may watch me stream some. Most of these guys don't know about my eye twitch, so.
No, I watched. I'll say this, Omega. I popped in on the earlier bits of the weather stream and went, I'm not playing that solo yet.
So I was there for the earlier bits, but then I had to go record a thing. A friend of mine who then turns out the recording was bunked. So
Look,
yeah,
miserable.
weather is. Oh, that new support can't come soon enough. The weather is just not a fun deck.
Well, it just looks like you have to read a fucking paragraph every card.
Well, it is like they have. I think I said that on stream. They're like the archetype that has like the most like effect text out there for like nothing. Like,
No, I'll still argue Pendulum Endymion.
No. Like Pendulum Endymion, like the Pendulum version of Endymion does stuff. Like he does a lot of things, but like the weather is so much of like, wow, this is just like 2 whole paragraphs.
It's usually they
were practicing their PCST skills on weather.
It's how they special it, and then the whole thing that they always return from banishment. But yeah.
Well, no, but also then you've got the spell traps, which
add effects
have to like because they add effects need like 2 blocks of text to explain. It's not good.
As soon as I saw how much text was in the weather on that node, because I ran through the basic bits of that node or of the weather, and I'm just like. I'm just gonna do the tutorial and smash it with my normal deck.
Yeah. Okay. But we're here, as you guys can see from the thing. Did I? No, I didn't tweet about this. I'm trying to think. Sorry, I have to juggle all these tabs. I have to do all this work to produce this steaming hot, fresh fail portrayal all by myself, with no support.
Do you want us to do it for you next time?
Well, you can't do some of this for me.
Sassy. He's just being passive-aggressive.
I'm very tired.
Omega, I don't think I'm on your friends list, so I can't give you my support.
I don't know. I think I got 3 slots free. I had to kick out some people who hadn't logged in like 40 days, so...
No. I'm joking.
I routinely check to see if Lucky's gotten tired of me yet and kicked me out.
Lucky may have done like I did and locked all of our mods.
Oh, okay.
To be fair, I couldn't
Sweet.
log in for a bit or do anything.
I don't think I saw your name though because you had because like literally I did it last night. Anyway, we're talking about stuff that's not fail portrayal. It's Gusto, everybody.
Yeah.
Fail portraying Gusto. I have a list. Nope, don't do that in there. I need to on this window, please. Thank you. Now I've lost my select everything. So hold on, I have to redraw my fucking window. I really wish that computers were smart enough to be like, his cursor is on this monitor. That's the monitor where that action is supposed to be applied. But no, I have to like.
Wait a second.
Be on the window.
I wasn't the one to drop the F-bomb first this time.
I mean, we've been streaming for like 3 minutes, Loth. It doesn't matter. It's literally just I need you not to say fuck or cunt for like 30 seconds.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, you've gotten a bit better about.
Yes.
What the fuck did you say to me, you daft cunt?
Let's not say the C word too many times. YouTube doesn't like that one a lot anyway. I don't think they'll catch us.
Yeah.
Also, just to bring it up, because David's probably not going to be with us for the next rest of the month.
No, it's just this week and next week.
That's fairly normal. People have taken longer breaks.
I mean, it's technically the rest of the month though, but yeah.
No, I mean, no. Actually, no. There's one more March.
We have 3 recordings. We have 3 recordings in March left, buddy. Because it's not yet the 16th where we record episode 60, and then it's not yet the 23rd. David is gonna miss the recordings of the 16th and the 23rd.
Okay, he'll be there for the 30th.
We hope he'll be back for the 30th.
I could probably be in tomorrow towards the tail end for the band discussion.
I will definitely
not the band, the unbanned discussion.
I can say this: I will probably not be here for fail portrayal on the 5th, because it's my birthday, so I'm probably gonna be out.
Happy early birthday.
Oh, that's a terrible shame though, because you mean like the 5th of April? That would be the closest to the April Fools when we would like to do
I mean, I could do it. It just depends on whether or not my parents are going to be like, we're going to the fucking.
I mean,
McDougal's."
actually,
I
what
don't
we
know.
should do is
I don't
What would be a
fucking
good
know.
joke one?
McDougal's.
no,
I
no,
love
no,
that
no, no.
place.
What we should do is because it'll be a special, is on the
Frank it.
31st. We should do that thing we talked about where, as an actual April Fool's, we look at the art of Magic: The Gathering cards.
Yes, no.
Right, yeah.
I will be.
We can
I
try
will
that
be
on a
down for
Thursday.
that.
Dallas needs to gather us some.
Well, no,
cards
I
and
can
everything
do
or
the
something.
5th. I just have to. I have to.
I mean,
be-
that Thursday is the 31st. That's a lot closer to April Fool's Day. That might just be better.
I actually. I can't. I definitely can't do that.
Oh,
I
okay.
can't do Thursdays.
All right. Fair enough.
It's
All right. Well, we'll work
school.
on something. We'll figure something out then. We have several
Yep.
weeks. Anyway,
Oh, right,
before we
okay,
actually get
right.
into Gusto, I did want to bring up that I ordered my one copy of Hidden Arsenal Chapter 1, and then immediately the price dropped like $2. I'm very mad about it. I got a dual terminal rare like Dark Magician though that some nostalgia nerd will probably pay like $40 or $50 for on
I kinda
TCG
hate-
Player. So
I
Yeah.
kind of hate that they crammed it full of like red eyes, blue eyes, and dark magician.
yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Every single time Konami like re-releases or releases a new foiling, they like have to jam a nostalgia card in there, and it kind of sucks. I got like a Book of Moon that's really cool though. But
Yeah.
there's some stuff in it, and I did get some Dragoonies. One of them was Gay Bulg with the dual terminal raring, which is neat. So like, it's not a total loss. But I
Yeah,
did get
I-
my lore insert, and you've probably seen some pictures on there overall. But so mostly this is just graphics packages with the lore that's already in the dual terminal guide. But I've got it out here. I'm not gonna read every text of it because it's a lot. It's very dense. But they have like one page is just all the inserts for like X-Saber, Gen X, Jurak, Worm. So like X-Sabers are a mercenary group formed under Souza, they say. Some of them ended up going missing and all that stuff. Talk about Commander Gothams, who had been Souza's lieutenant, so that's cleared up. The Jureks are just a tribe of dinosaurs who are the top of the food chain because they're on fire.
Dinosaur.
Gen X are just weird. They never talked to anybody until the worms showed up. And then the worms are from aliens. They're aliens. They do things. So we've got like all the notes on the Allies of Justice. And you get to
Yeah.
see the early levels, including some of them are built with worm energy, and then the final ones use the Gen X. They actually
I've
have a
got a-
diagram of the Churia Forest. So like you've got pond, path, woods, hill. And they're right next to the Mist
This
Valley.
weekend. So we're talking about.
Yeah,
lore.
I've got a couple funny things to talk about from my set too.
They do actually talk about the Dragooni thing, which we talked about last time, which is just like they're in the clouds. They got dragon whelps. They got masters of the whelps. They dance. They sky dance as one. That's a quote. And then the Arma are just special. And then on the flip side, we've got a pyramid for Flamevel. I don't know why the Flame Cores, specifically Uruquizius's Flamevel Cores. So they're like an army, I guess. But they're arranged in a pyramid scheme.
I mean,
With
because
Druganov at the
volcano.
bottom, by the way. I don't know. And they got their
Is it a pyramid
ancient
because
deity, and the
volcano?
Neo Flame Bells are on here. There's the Mist Valley, who have like soldiers and birds. And then it does talk about their neighbors to the Gusto tribe. So they're not quite separate, but there is some stuff that we'll see later in here. And they also talk about the Mist Worm, who's just there. There's a lot on the Fabled and like the structure of their dimension I'm not going to get into. And we mentioned this when we did the Ice Barrier fail portrayal. The Ice Barriers have like multiple factions for who is for what in terms of getting the dragons. So it's kind of neat. The price is dropping if you're interested in that kind of stuff. So go ahead and check it
Yeah.
out.
So, if I may take a second,
Go
I
for
was
it. I
able
need to set
to.
up some graphics.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So in my set, I was able to pull a skill drain. Sick. Oh wait, no, skill drain wasn't the one that was banned. I was thinking that was the one that got. No, that wasn't the.
No, Skill Drain is
Skill Drain
unlimited.
got unbanned.
Yeah, skill drain got
unlimited skill
unbanned.
drain.
That's what was.
Imperial
that's what
Order
was
is the one they
controversial.
finally banned.
Yeah, okay. But no, I
Yeah,
also got like a
trade.
Book of Moon, a Gungnir, Lava
Ah.
Golem. But
Ooh,
I
cool.
also was able to get like a reduced price. They were clearancing the gold set, and I got an extra, a gold Extrav and a gold Exodia out of it.
Nice. Okay, so what we know about Gusto is very simple. They live in the Mist Valley in some marshes. They have a weird temple that has God in it, apparently. And they're introduced to our second generation of Dual Terminal because Noelia and the Gishkis try to invade the valley to get their god. But then some bad stuff happens, and some Steel Swarms come out, and then some Vylons come out, and so the tribes all team up to do stuff.
Yeah.
And then they get new powers to fight Vylon Disigma, and then the Gishki restart their invasion. And the Gem Knights give them a team up, but then the Evil Swarms come out, and it's bad. And I think they all die. I'm scrolling a lot. I'm not seeing any more.
Yeah, so the Gusto, I think the majority of them...
Oh, yeah, and then if they didn't get
story.
killed by the invasion of the Gishki and Poisonous Winds, some of them survived to team up with the Gem Knights. They probably didn't have a good time when Sophia, Goddess of Rebirth, actually pops out of the temple in the middle of their lands.
Yeah. I want to say that the survivors are literally...
I think it's just,
it
says literally lists
range.
survivors of the Gusto, Rees and Kamui.
Well,
Yeah.
no, there's technically one more survivor.
No, I don't believe Winda technically survives.
She
she survives either way.
I mean, her mind, her spirit survives.
And then Pilica is literally, I think, Rees and Kamui's kid?
Makes sense. She came out way later and is called Descendant of Gusto.
Yeah.
So
And
Gusto's
then-
pretty interesting. I would argue that I think they're actually meant to be kind of like even though they don't have any legacy to them, like explicitly they are mentioned as living in the Mist Valley next to the Mist Valley guys. I think the way that they're best to describe their feel is they are actually like Dragoonity, because you've basically got three monsters in the Gusto archetype. You've got this is for instance Calm right here.
Yep.
Calm, Serenity of Gusto. So you have humans who are usually psychic type, I believe. I think they may all be psychics. They are all psychic. Okay, so they are name, so proper noun, X of Gusto. In Japanese, this was Gusto no Seijaku Kamu, so silence of the Gusta. And yes, they're Gusta in Japanese. So to avoid memes, the TCG department was like, Gusto! That's a much better word than Me Gusta memes. Y'all remember Me Gusta memes?
I think they're still Gusta in Spanish.
Spanish? No, they are Gusto.
Oh, they are Gusto?
Serenidad
Okay.
de Gusto. Yes, they actually...
Maybe it was something else.
kept
then.
it a little
I
better.
don't know.
But yeah, so this is one of our formats is noun X of Gusto. And then there are the actual birds of the Gusto, who are just Gusto, clearly a bird name, or possibly a small mammal, because there are exactly two Gustos, I believe, who are not birds. There is a thunder dog and a squirrel.
Oh,
Yes.
Thunder Squirrel.
I don't know why there's a
I'd be
squirrel,
really
but there
concerned if
is.
there was
no,
a
he-
Gusto.
He's not even a flying squirrel.
Yeah, no, he is.
I'd be really concerned if there was a Gusto emu.
And then the last is the Die Gustos, which are mostly their extra deck monsters, so we'll do those at the bottom of my list, which is in roughly chronological
Yes.
order. The Die
And-
Gustos are literally Big Gusto, is basically the equivalent of the Dragoonity Synchros. They are a psychic riding a bird who has become embiggened,
Yes.
with the exception of their exceses, which are slightly different, but we'll see their aesthetic later.
And there's also one other exception too. We will get to her later.
I'll be very honest. I have very little to say about the Gusto artwork because they all look pretty decent.
So this is Calm.
Yeah,
Calm is a lady. You can tell because she appears to have a halter top on.
I will bring up, like...
Good.
It just looks like... I'm not sure if this is a good example for it, but they just look like, I guess, like a mage clan and like a Tales game.
Yeah, I was gonna say they would be like a decent wizard and familiar type of
Not-
group. in my opinion.
This hopefully this doesn't sound like a diss on the art, but this right here looks like what you'd see on a how to draw manga cover.
It is a little bit that.
Yeah,
Honestly,
a
I
little
think
bit.
what this reminds me of, this looks like light novel insert art, right?
Oh yeah,
well-
for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Well, can we address the elephant in the room?
What's up?
This looks like they just took Winda the Wind Charmer and made a fucking archetype out of it.
Yes.
That's true. That is also
yes.
another thing.
I think
Dallas, look
I
at
think
look at the chat.
canonically she has some tie to the Gusto. I forget how. But I'm pretty sure Win does have a tie.
Let
does
me
have
actually look
something that
through all.
vaguely
Can
ties
I?
her to-
It does say related archetype Gusto.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can find some different arts
I
of.
forget
Winda.
if
yeah.
I
That's
forget if
weird if
someone
they actually
somewhere
did.
said that
Oh,
Winda
yeah.
is like her sister, or if it's
Well,
a case of
Okay, so we got
she
familiar
had
possessed
some
wind.
trinket.
Oh,
We've
yeah,
got
look
verdant
at-
wind.
Yeah, just looking at the thing, it says Winda is her older sister.
Oh,
And
okay.
Windar
they-
is his father.
There's a really weird. I don't know where they get the source of this, but there's a fucking matrix in the wiki. Because of course there is for all the Charmers, because there's so many different versions of them.
Yes.
But there is a category called dual terminal relation, and so you've got Urstos, Viola Omega, Gishki Ariel, and Winda in here. I don't know if that was supposed to be a direct line. I will say it's hard to tell in her original art. But in her like Link version and her like Storming version, Win looks a lot more like Winda, who is actually like literally next to
Yeah,
her
no,
list.
like if you look
Yeah.
at Wind the Wind Channeler, which is like the latest normal
Yeah.
or Maniac monster, they look fucking almost identical
Yeah.
to the Winda from the Gusto.
Yeah, so it's because.
And I believe Area the Water Charmer does have some relation to Gishki as well.
Well, that, like I said, the Matrix says that her
Or-
counterpart is Gishki Ariel, but I don't know for sure. Well,
Ah,
because
yeah.
as you guys know, there's a shitload of Charmers and variants. That will probably be
Yes.
its own fail portrayal because they have managed to try and kludge together a actual.
I will be out on that one because I will just literally just be like
This is
the
a
same
draw.
art in a different pose.
Yeah, it's
Well,
already-
some of them
my-
are
my
actually
favorite-
drawn by
my
different
favorite-
artists. Like I said, like in her original
My favorite,
art,
charmer,
Win looks like she
dog.
has brown hair. Every follow-up appearance Win has had has green hair, like a Gusto. But yeah,
I mean,
so
we would.
uh,
I was saying for Marth's sake, we would also probably have to go over the familiars as well.
yes, we would probably have to
Yeah,
mention because
those-
they're part of the Matrix system.
Yeah,
All the Gaga Gigos. Yeah.
No,
And
not all the
honestly-
Gaga Gigos.
And honestly, the only relevant the only relevant Charmer card is one of the familiars.
Yeah.
That's not
The
true.
the only meta relevant one has ever been
Also
one
not
of the,
true. Their Link monsters are kind of, strongly used in every monotype deck that is modern.
No, that's
Well,
fair.
And
Okay.
I
I should say
and-
main deck card.
And I've been watching some of the like tournaments that MBT has been doing since Battle of Chaos, and Dark's
Yeah.
getting a lot of mileage.
There are a lot of dark element decks that I believe are common right now.
Yeah, like there's
I think I understand why Konami waited so long to release the Link versions of the Light and Dark, because
yeah,
they're very common attributes. So giving them more Link climbing as somebody messily eats.
yeah, because I'm pretty sure your access codes are all dark. I'm pretty sure your
But so those are our three like structures here, and art-wise, like we said, there's not a lot to say about Com. She exists. You will see some of these recurring themes: the green hair, the staffs, the kind of like
Yep.
wind effect. I do like that there's a full background here. That's very nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
They all look
Yes.
vaguely like Japanese fantasy elves.
yeah, I
yeah.
can get that.
So Com is a level 4 wind psychic with 1700 attack, 1100 defense. Fairly decent stats for our first example of a monster in a hidden arsenal
Yep.
archetype. Dominion Hidden Arsenal 5, Steel Swarm Invasion. Once per turn, you can shuffle 2 Gusto monsters from your graveyard into your main deck, draw 1 card.
Yeah.
Welcome to
you
Gustos,
know,
everybody.
Yeah, Calm is what makes a lot of Gusto decks tick for a long time. I've looked at some of the more recent lists, and you do start cutting down on Calm a little bit, but she's never completely out of the deck.
Yeah, because I think the idea is that as you go further into the games get shorter,
Yeah.
trending anyway.
And
We'll see how long that
and
works out for us in Prague.
and that's kind of what, spoiler alert, like as the resident Gusto player, when Gusto first came out, like they were a semi-decent like stall, almost control type.
Yeah, especially because
where-
you could pair them with Dark Simorg.
Yeah, or yeah, you could do Dark Simorg stuff. There's other.
There's a lot of psychic stuff. I
Shenanigans.
mean, I've brought this up. I think you stepped away, but if you ever want to look for pro tips to how to customize your Gusto deck into the modern era, there's like 5 or 6 Gusto variants on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Fandom
Oh,
wiki
yeah.
page, including like
yeah, no.
Gusto Metal Foes,
You know what the funniest thing is?
Gusto Psychic good stuff. What's
They're
up?
not even. They don't even list the most meta relevant one, because Boosters actually were in a rogue deck recently.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
because
let
they're
me
all
guess.
wind psychics.
Yeah. Which Wind Psychic is also just kind of a thing sometimes. There's just a bunch of random weird like
no.
Wind Psychic supports that have come out.
Virtual World Gusto
Yeah.
is a thing.
Yeah.
Because Lulu, Jaja, Shishi, I believe there's a couple other ones.
Yeah.
that are all,
Which, Virtual World is also a synchro archetype, so
Yeah.
that also helps.
But yeah, so you guys can see at home what the thrust of this archetype is right away, which is Gustos recycle. They
Yes.
flow from one to another.
survive.
So
they
somehow.
are very nature friendly. They
recycling.
recycle.
And so Calm that's just an advantage. Oh, you've got 2 spent cards. For instance, if you synchro summoned, you can put them back and draw a card. So this keeps your advantage going. Obviously, as you get faster,
There's also
it becomes less viable because it requires setup. You can't just turn 1 Calm, so she's not a starter.
Yeah, she's a recovery and
Yeah.
potential extender depending on what you draw into. I will also say that we should probably go into the main creatures that you would be recycling. But
Well, I've got the
that's
X of
kinda-
Gusto as my first people because it started with Calm, who was
Okay.
alphabetical.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah,
trying.
okay.
As I said,
Yeah,
the
I know.
Gustos have a very weird naming convention, so getting them organized has been a little tough. But since we mentioned her, we might as well just go ahead and move on to
Yeah.
Winda, who is next in my list, because she was out in the original blurb. When they say when Gozer shows up and asks you choose the form of your destroyer, here it is.
Oh look, it's Winda, so full of hope and
Yeah,
Not
look
really.
at her.
yeah.
She's full of
not
hope
yet
and small
corrupted.
animals, small woodland creatures. She's got a weird rabbit thing in her pocket. She's got a bird with her.
Yeah.
She's just having
I think
fun.
that's actually a doll. There was something I was
Shadow
looking
doll?
at, but
is it a doll
yeah,
of shadows?
I see what you did there, but no, I think she swaps that with the Gishki Amelia later,
Aw, it's adorable.
I believe.
Also, by the way,
Like-
I did not mention it, but it has been in the bottom. This is from the phase of Dual Terminal where everybody had crests. So this is the Gusto crest in the bottom here.
Yep, and you will
Also
see
like
that
vaguely
everywhere.
Japanese. Yeah, and you can see it. It's in her belt buckle. It's in her necklace, and also in her other necklace.
Is she?
Yeah.
Is it
It's
the
also
lighting,
on
or
her
is she
bird.
wearing different colored pants?
I
It's
think
the
it's a
lighting.
lighting effect.
I think it's a lighting
because she's
thing.
got
It's
kind of those
lighting.
purpley tassel things on her belt.
It just looks like she's wearing a black legging and a purple.
No, wait,
legging.
actually, no, that's just like. I think that's just badly like mixed paint.
Yeah, it could just
Because
be a
it's
little
very
bit of color
clearly two
bleed.
different colors.
Yeah.
Oh, as Varen points out, the bird has the crest as well.
Yeah, the bird also
Yep.
is wearing the exact same necklace.
The bird will be showing up later.
Yeah, they're buddies.
Spoiler alert.
By the way,
Uh,
Dallas, I hope you appreciate it.
So yeah, I mean, art-wise, I don't think there's anything to say about this one, like in terms of
Yeah,
critical. This is
I
just
mean,
this is how
Omega-
Gustos look.
You could
I
could
mean-
say,
I think we need to put an art side by side to this.
do we need to bring
Posterities.
Winda? Do we need to bring Winda in?
I really do.
No, I don't think we're gonna.
Why?
Yeah,
We're literally
whatever.
gonna do that when we do Shadal, though. That is gonna
Yeah.
be like the whole thing. Is we put a
Okay.
Shadal monster and then we're like,
Sorry,
and here's what
sorry,
they used
no.
to look like.
Sorry, not Winda, but Win.
I mean, if you want me to pull up one of the Win arts I found, we can do that. Yes,
So
that is new.
clearly, what would with Shadow will be like, this is them, and this is before tax mind break or tax corruption.
Well, no, technically it's Tag's necromancy.
Tag's resurrection.
Ah, I see.
Because they're not actually alive. Look, I'm gonna have a fucking... When we do Shadal, I'm gonna have a fucking, like...
Erection?
Connection.
No, I have... So Shadal lore is based off... never mind. It's not important.
Is it based off Golden
Oh,
War?
but yeah, no, I will say that when Shadal's come around, this lady somehow goes from psychic to spellcaster,
Well, no,
That's
it's-
just
and
the
then-
power of the
and-
Shadals.
and then back again.
you know what Shadal is based on, right?
I think I should, but I'm blanking.
El Shaddai,
But
which is the one of the Hebrew
Man,
names
look
of
at
God.
that staff.
yes,
God.
no,
Yeah,
it's
so that
almost
that
like they're
is
related.
this is Win the Wind Channeler, the latest version, who looks a lot more Gusto-y, but also still has her petite dragon familiar and all that stuff.
Has another familiar off to the side.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Is
I
that
forget what that one is.
a tail?
No, she has like fur lining, I think.
Yeah,
Okay.
each of them have a pom pom that matches their hair color.
Oh god, dark with a
Pom-pom
pom-pom,
tassel
let's go.
thing.
Yeah, but that
I think
staff
dark
is the
is
same,
dark.
yeah.
Dark is the only one that doesn't.
Oh, come on. Wait, I just noticed with the one on the left, I forgot her name, she's got a fucking little bug in her pocket.
It's a
Win. No, you're talking. Oh, you
Yeah,
mean
that's-
you
that's
only just
Winda.
saw the doll we talked about in Winda? Well, I wanted to throw out. Win also has the exact same doll in her hood. Well, not the exact same, but the same make. It's pink though.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
there's
yeah, I
supposed
see
to be
it.
some connection there, obviously. I
Yeah.
do feel like with this version of Win, they've kind of gone out of their way to gusto her up.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Because, like I said, the original Win the Wind Charmer doesn't look quite as much, but they have definitely pushed the art in that direction.
Yeah, I think that's something that they probably decided on a little bit later.
Well, yeah, because
The
Charmers,
Charmers are clearly-
Charmers in their own don't have any clear overlap with Dual Terminal.
Yeah.
Charmers are clearly the reincarnations in the world after Sophia had to remake everything.
So,
No, that's whatchamacallit?
World Legacy, probably.
World Legacy.
So, Winda, Priestess of Gusto, literally in Japanese, Miko Winda. So,
Yep.
Shrine
sense.
Maiden makes a lot more sense that they got that big shrine. This leads you to one of the other things Gusto do, which is Float. This is a level 2 psychic, 1k attack, 400 defense. When this card is destroyed by battle with an opponent's attacking monster, so you can't crash your own monsters, and sent to the
Yes.
graveyard, you can special summon one Gusto tuner from your deck.
Yeah, so unfortunately Winda more modernly gets cut down a little bit more because you have to... She doesn't float on effect destruction, and she doesn't float if you attack with her into stuff.
Yes.
Now, there's,
But for
there's
the
still ways
time
around
period, it was a very clear cut of like, well, your opponent still has to attack you for game, so just,
that. Oh yeah, no.
She exists to die.
And then get calmed back into the deck.
yeah. So
Like,
let's
this
pull
is
up our,
one of the big
next
three
card.
that you send back to deck with calm.
So, as always, of course, it's dual terminal. We have to have a big guy in your main deck. We can't not. This is Windar.
Yep.
I assume he's got to be like
Daddy.
supposed to be Winda's dad or something.
Yeah, someone mentioned earlier that he had that kind of connection.
He does have the same little like purple tassels all over his stuff. and is also
Yeah,
wearing a giant
Lynn's-
Gusto medallion. So I can see the connections. His hair's a little bit more of a forest green. He's got some armor and
He's got-
stuff.
He's got like a weird axe version of the staff.
Yeah, he clearly shanks people with that, I think.
Well,
also
I mean,
looks like
you,
he's about
you
to play
read
a
his
tune-off.
effect, and yeah, no, he clearly does.
Yeah, he's gonna play that. He's gonna play the green dragon flute, summon the Dragon Zord. He also, speaking of how we talked about how these guys are a little anime-like, he definitely has some like weird ninja or samurai boot type thing going on with like his puffy hakama pants and his monogrammed knee guards.
Fucking
Yeah,
hell,
those are a
maybe
little-
spread out ice
The-
cream.
Those are a little much. I will say that.
Not a-
Well, so
not a
he's
children.
this. Spoilers. This guy's level 6, so he's a bigger dude. I can understand why they upped his design a little, but he
Oh,
does
yeah.
have a lot of things going on. He's got a lot of accessories.
He does, but
I think
I
the
don't
only thing
think
that like
they're
really
that other than the knee guards. I don't think they're that out of place.
the other thing that I think bothers me is the dark blue of some of his straps.
Yeah.
Because we've already got like a variety of greens and browns, so the blue is kind of honestly a fourth
If they're-
color because the little tufts are purple.
Yeah.
If the straps were white, I'd be willing to just skip the pass, really.
That might be a little more balanced.
I don't mind them as much, but I could see that.
They don't really bother me a lot, but they do definitely feel like they stick out to me.
It's
They-
one of those
they
things
do a
where
little
like
bit.
you wouldn't lose anything by removing them either.
Well, I think part of the problem is that they'd been like I think white would have been too much of a standout, and I think brown would have blended in a little too much.
Cream, I don't know.
So
They got a
I'm
couple
not
different
sure
greens
what
in
Would
there.
have been a
Honestly,
Like,
I would have said
unless-
probably keep it to like maybe the purple range, like the tufts, so that we're not adding yet another color to the composition.
yeah.
Yeah.
Either that or possibly gone with the grayish of like the that might have looked.
Also, it's just me with the shadowing, but it looks like he has a chin strap.
I think it's the shadow, but he could have a little bit of a goatee.
little bit. I think it's the shadow.
It's hard, guys. Listen, it's hard to shave in the Mist Valley.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, so
Why am I
don't you
eating?
worry. After talking about 3 just dudes, the next 5 cards are monsters, so we get to talk about birds and stuff.
Yep.
But Windar is a level 6 psychic. He has 2k attack, 1000 defense, so not a super great stat line for that
Yeah.
that star level. And also, once again, not a super great stat line for his effect, which is if this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can target one level 3 or lower Gooster monster in your graveyard, special summon that target in face-up defense position. So, obviously, what this is supposed to do is let you extend into tuners so you can summon higher-level synchros because he has a bigger level number on his own.
Yes.
He does
I
not, for
will-
that 6, have a good stat line.
So I will tell you right now that he is. I used him exactly once because there's a way that you can tutor him to the field, and we'll get to that monster later. But you can tutor him to the field because he has, because of his values. So he actually does look appealing as a monster. The problem in Gusto is that he only has one synchro monster natively within Gusto that he can go into because he's level 6.
I
That-
honestly feel like
What the
this
fuck?
card is
Sorry, I'm having
If he
a
had
hell
been-
of a,
if
a
he had
hell of a
been
time.
level
I think
5,
fucking there we go.
Well-
the image for the next guy was like broken. I could not find
Yeah.
it to link. Okay, but
I
yeah,
feel like
if-
this guy.
even if-
Nope.
yeah. No, you go.
I feel like this guy is definitely better in non-pure builds of Gusto because, like,
Yes.
especially in what I talked about, like the him being 6 is actually he is included in Gusto and
Virtual World.
Virtual World because they're all about 3s and 6s, which
Yeah.
Gusto has.
Yeah, it's not that you can't make him work. In Gusto, it's just the number it's mostly his level that works against him because it limits
Yeah.
what he can go into at this time. And I would also kind of say that in the future, probably what hurts him also is that while you can tutor him from the deck to the field, the way you do it within Gusto is a little bit slow.
Yeah. So he's a good monster on paper, but practically, once you actually get to the
Yeah.
board, you're like, this doesn't work out as well as I'd like it to do. For
Yeah.
being a large man in your main deck, it just doesn't flow very well.
Yeah,
So,
and unfortunately,
he
he is the largest man in the Gusto.
yes,
main
that
deck
is
if
that
you're
is not
doing
something
pure.
Gusto goes back to. They do not attempt to make large boys like Windar ever again.
Yeah, not as large as Windar. There is one that they do.
There are some other more punchy guys, but yeah, like
Yeah.
they don't really go for the high level plays. So this is
Yeah.
Gusto Kodor, not Coder, Kodor.
Yeah.
Kodador?
It's a bird with a helmet.
Yes.
It's a very-
I assume it's meant to be Condor.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's a bird with armor. That's
it's
all I
a-
can
it-
think. There's nothing really wrong with it, I don't think.
I mean, I think there's something wrong with
very
his eye.
It's a very green
Well,
It's
color.
a
Sure.
shuriken.
Yeah.
Magic eyes. Yeah.
Well,
He's got
so-
Sharingan eyes, guys. I don't.
Well, yeah, I believe that's supposed to be the Gusto sigil. I think all of
well,
the
it's not quite
monsters-
curvy though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think all of the monsters are supposed to have it in their eyes. I don't know, something to signify that they're,
I mean, we got
not
like a windy
necessarily
background.
under
He's
the
swooping.
control of, but connected to.
I will say, if it's supposed to be the crest, they've done a poor job of doing that
Yeah.
because
no, I
he is
agree.
covered in crests, so you get to go. That's not the same thing.
Yeah, no,
You know what this
exactly.
looks like? This looks like every early fan art of fucking like hypothetical Naruto eyes that I remember from like 2004.
I mean, I told you he got Sharingan eyes.
Mm.
He also has a
Yeah.
derpy little hat. Again, like I said, this is why I draw that like aesthetically, the Gustos are really like Dragoonity 2.0, even though we didn't really
Yeah.
get rid of all the Dragoonities.
Well, they don't.
Yeah.
Fortunately for Gusto, possibly unfortunately for the content of this episode, they never quite get as derpy as Gusto. But,
No, I don't think they get
or
quite as
Dragoonity.
derpy, but there's some elements. So yeah, I don't think we have anything else to say about Kodor. He is a condor with a hat.
Yeah.
We'll have plenty to say about his effect though. So this is a winged beast. So this
No,
is
we
our
won't.
second variety. 1K attack, 400 defense. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can special summon one wind-type psychic monster with 1500 or less defense from your deck. So yes,
So
by
when
the
I
way,
s-
that does bring
What
out
is this
Windar.
Yeah,
What
I
is
was
things
gonna
stats
say
again?
this does say you can bring out Windar. This isn't the way you bring out Windar.
No.
This guy, unfortunately,
Yeah, that's just
has
Konami.
a problem.
Please, and I don't think they've done it in a long time, so I think they
Well,
have learned
okay.
their lesson. But Konami, please stop putting destroy an opponent's monster by battle effects on monsters that have like less than at least like 1700 attack.
I would accept that on 1500 because you can
As a
shenanigan.
level 3
You're hitting
1500,
the,
sure.
because you're hitting the era now. Because I think at this point you have Forbidden Lance. You can shenanigans that a little bit.
Well, and
um,
you've always had attack modulation for sure, but
Yeah.
it's still like the 1K 3-star. Hey, destroy a monster by battle, and you can get a psychic. Which, by the way, I believe it's mostly the birds that are tuners, not the psychics.
Yes, you are correct.
So this
all
doesn't
of-
even get you
it's-
to a synchro monster. Now, this does get you possibly to some of your Xyz
Loaders.
options,
yeah, that too.
but it's still
Thinking, not for a while, not initially.
it's
'cause-
not- it's
so
still not-
here's the other thing.
well. There's one more thing I want to
Uh,
bring up about this guy, just in
oh, yeah.
general. Is this was technically the first Gusto I think we ever saw. This was in Generation Force as a common, which I believe was before
Yep.
the other hidden arsenals. So this
Yeah.
is how this archetype showed the fuck up.
Yeah. So here's the other problem with this card if you were trying to go into Xyz plays. Your only 3-star psychic type is not released until like mid Xyz era, and it's Pilica, and you have better things doing with Pilica.
Oh,
Yeah,
jeez,
Wind is
don't bring
2.
up
Despite the fact
again.
that Winda, by the way, has the exact same stat line as this guy, Winda is 2.
So yeah, no, like I said,
That's
this
a great
guy-
metric from Varen in chat. If it can't beat La Jin, the first boss monster of the game, I wouldn't put that effect on it. That's a fair description. By the way, no, if you guys
Yeah.
don't know, if people listening or in the call don't know, in the OCG printing, the original printing of the game, La Jin was the first ever boss monster because the first ever
Oh, yeah.
sets of Yu-Gi-Oh, which were smaller, were absolute dog shit. So they didn't even
Yes.
have like summon skulls. Their best monster
Yeah.
was La Jin as a 4-star 1800 beater.
I
Yep.
remember some of like the GBA games where it's like you only normal summon 1 and 2s and has a single tribute 3 and 4,
Ooh,
and like double.
Yeah,
and
there's
then
some
double
real
triple.
weird GBA games.
Yeah.
So-
And then like and
Shout
then
out to
don't
shout
trip
out to
Doom for
Rechef
5 and
of
6.
Destruction for completely just making up random bullshit Yu-Gi-Oh rules.
I think they copied that from a previous game with the whole tribute weaknesses thing.
yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, no. Hodor, unfortunately, is not something you include ever.
no.
So let's talk
is
about a guy who you
also
probably do include sometimes. This is Gusto Igel.
Yes.
Okay, this guy's just adorable.
He's a
Yeah.
little.
Oh yeah, no. This is probably one of my favorite monsters in Gusto.
Yeah.
He's got,
art wise.
What's the name of it? He's got like a little tassel or armored flaps for his waist.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think
he
those
has a
are
fucking,
called tassels.
He has a loincloth.
Tabard?
I think the tabard is
Yeah,
the cloth bit. But
maybe?
yeah, he's
Yeah.
got the droopy armor bits. Like he's wearing a little armored
Yeah.
vest, but it's cute. I like how
Yeah.
they've kind of like, unlike Kodor, he's it's in color. They're green.
Mhm.
The fin is like a little ludicrous, but because he's such a tiny fluffy guy, you don't care. He's adorable.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
He somehow has less logos on him than Kodor.
Yeah.
Only 2 from
yeah.
what I can see.
But he's
He has a collar.
yeah, so he's a pet. But like, there's
Uh-huh.
definitely a lot more little things here that are. I think this design is a little like cuter and softer than
Yeah.
Kodor. Kodor was a little
I think-
derpy. This guy just looks nice.
Yeah, I think
Yep.
this is supposed to be a juvenile bald eagle.
Almost assuredly, because it is
Yeah.
gold.
This Gusto's going to be an interesting archetype for me to look at, considering I really love the color green, and all of these are green, and I'm just like, Kodor looked dumb. This looks good. This is a
Yeah.
good
Oh yeah.
green.
No.
And they've even got like with
and
the
red
whitish.
even looks less out of place here too.
Well, red and green are complementary colors. Or are
Yeah.
they supplementary color?
But,
I don't
like,
remember
on
my color theory,
Christmas.
but red and green go together.
Yeah, but like on Kodor, it stood out in a weird way.
I think it's because he also had some browns on him.
I think so. I think,
Is it-
and because he was a darker kind of brownish green, kind of like a
Whereas
sagey
the,
green.
the greens that make up Eagle, there are 3, but
Yeah.
we've got kind of like, well, technically
Yeah,
there's a
and
few
they're the
gradients in his
bluer
wings, but you've got
greens.
like darker, and then you've got kind of whitish green, and then
Yeah,
you've got
and
a very blue green, teal
Yeah,
for his armor.
Yeah. And is it just me, or is like the whites of his eyes more yellowish, like a normal bird's would be?
Yeah, I think they did some
so,
attention to
too.
detail in this design. He's
Yeah.
got a little yellowing in there because you could, like his top feathers and tail feathers are very whitish green.
Yeah,
Like
and
So
red
uh,
on slightly yellow stands out less than red on white.
I do want to point out one other thing though. Is
Go ahead.
he flapping that wind into you, or is he getting wind shot at?
I think he's flapping the wind at the camera, as it were,
Because
they
yeah.
all
there's
have
some
that
wind
kind of
lines and
appearance.
feathers coming off of him.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
They all
but-
kind of appear in that wind burst effect.
Yeah.
So Eagle
So that
is
always
a
description has a
winged
thought.
beast,
Yep.
and is a tuner, and is level 1. Those are usually pretty good combos. 200 attack,
Yep.
400 defense. And when this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, so at any time it's destroyed by battle, so if you've got life points, you can crash. You can special summon one level 4 or lower non-tuner Gusto monster from your deck. So this is a pretty good card. This is our first tuner. It's a level 1, so you've got a lot of
Yes.
flexibility. You can 1-for-1 it. You could limit reverse it if it's in your graveyard. You can crash it into opponent's monsters to get your non-tuners out of the deck if you need them. Very flexible card.
Oh yeah, no, this is so there is a very, very important loop in Gusto, and this card is one of the links. Winda's the other link. But Winda's usually the end point because you can't proactively go from Winda into anything else.
Looking at this,
But this is the card that lets you go from Gusto Goldo, who we'll talk about later.
Yeah, I think he's our next one if I didn't...
Yeah, into pretty much any non-tuner that is not a tribute monster. And
Loth,
so this is how you...
sorry. Is that
This is your decision point typically on whether you go into Winda to continue the cycling, or if you go into Calm to start recycling stuff back into the deck.
Okay, Loth, you were saying?
the fun thing about this design, I did not think about it, like considering how high up this bird can go, he could basically do like a shark fin popping out of the clouds with the fin on his helmet.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Oh yeah. But yeah,
that's it. It's
the other thing too is that he is level 1, and that's very important in Gusto actually, because your big
synchros are very
numbers,
small.
Yeah, your main synchro targets that you're trying to hit are 5, 6, 7.
All right, so we just mentioned him. Let us pull up Gusto Goldo. Yeah, it's just. I mean,
he doesn't look
actually,
like
I
he's
think
about
this
to be
may
forced.
be. This might even be a slight mistranslation. The Japanese in Romanji is Gusto Garudo. So, like, that does also make Guldo, but it could be like Garuda, because he sure doesn't look
Yeah.
like a gull.
Oh yeah, no, he doesn't. I do kind of think that's. Oh yeah, he's got a spiky helmet. He's a meaner bird than
This looks like
eagle, but not actually though.
The in between Condor and Eagle.
Yeah.
And that's funny because as somebody in chat pointed out, Eagle was Windar's familiar. Guldo here is Winda's.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna say,
clearly,
each-
this is her
each of
edgy teen phase.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Obviously, the father gave the daughter the more protective familiar.
I once again like their selections of greens. Like
Bird.
Guldo's
Oh, yeah.
feathers are very blue green, and then he's got like lime green armor, but it works.
Yeah, no, it does.
The spikes are a little goofy.
They are. They look like the kind of spikes that plumbers would not want to jump on.
Yeah. God, he really does look like a spiky Bowser.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he
any-
looks like a Bowser troop. I can't.
Any other thoughts about how he looks? Axe, are you still alive?
Yes, I just don't have much to say about
Okay.
it. It's just it just has fantasy armor on it, and
Yep.
it's green.
I'm just trying to remember if Axe had
Yeah.
spoken in the last like 5
Yeah.
minutes.
He is
I got
spiky
bored.
bird.
I don't see a poop window in this bird.
All right, so Guldo is a level 3 winged beast tuner, which
Yep.
probably means that he still has a lot of relevancy with those numbers.
He does
500 to 500 attack and defense. And then when this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, period, you can special summon a level 2 or lower Gusto monster from your deck. So that's
So-
pretty goo.
Yes.
So-
Welcome to probably the most important card in Gusto. Because
Honestly,
this
like,
gets
so
you...
we haven't gotten to their extra deck yet, but with just cards like Calm, Winda, Eagle, Guldo, like, in their debut block, they've got a pretty decent core for a deck strategy here.
Oh yeah, no. Like they want to grind out and just go for the long game
Yeah,
in the initial printing.
it's a little unfortunate that Pure Gusto is basically dead in
Yeah.
terms of modern rogueness as of the last ban list.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was going to build Gusto as soon as Chapter 2 hit, and I still will. But like this is the part that makes me sad that Simorg got hit, but also Simorg kind of needed to be hit, I think.
Yeah, it's the unfortunate
He
part
needed
is.
to get hit.
I mean, you could have eroded it, in my opinion, to just make it. No, because even then, it still wouldn't have worked. It still wouldn't have worked.
Maybe you could errata its material cost.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, you could do winged wind beast, but it's like, no, Lyrillus still does that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. The problem with the Simorg Link and why he got banned is because he's good in too many winged beast wombo combo decks, because there is
I
many
was gonna
Lyrilisk
say,
variants. There are several Tri Brigade variants, and then there are also rogue tier
Tri-Brigade.
deck like
Yeah.
winged beast. Like arguably Harpies would play him, and their Harpies are a rogue deck.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
Fire's good.
does only one of his materials need to be a winged beast?
Yeah.
Check.
So
Even if they all
maybe-
needed to be winged beast, it'd
Is
still be
it-
too
yeah,
powerful.
the Link one is sovereignty.
Yeah.
So.
Because the problem with that is Lyrillus. Because you can make 3
2+
Lyrillus for,
monsters,
like,
including a
nothing.
winged beast monster, which he's only 3, so you need to link climb.
Especially when
Yeah.
people go Simorg into barrier statue, and it's like, cool.
Oh, yeah.
great.
Well, you know, that's the
That's-
reason. I would have honestly preferred them to ban Barrier Statue, but that's just me.
Well, Thunder needs that. Just kidding.
No, it doesn't.
It
I'm
doesn't.
kidding.
Flunder needs.
Flunder needs to
No.
get hit right now, actually.
Oh, does it?
I thought you said
Yes.
I thought it was.
Thought it
I thought it
was
wasn't
good.
consistent enough.
No, it's well, so before they got their latest wave of support, they were kind of bad, and then they got their latest wave of support, another like tier 1-ish.
Oof.
The problem is the actual tier 1 deck is like 5 million different variants
It's
of
the
it.
pile.
Yeah.
It's literally a pile of random shit.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
we're
With
in
the-
the we're in the
I
pile phase of Yu-Gi-Oh, which is kind of.
I do
frustrating
agree
at some
that
Like
point.
instead
I
of
do
Dragon
think
Link, it's
that
just
they-
the pile.
I
It's-
do agree that we do probably need to hit the pile strat at some
Well,
point.
we need to hit Scythe is what we need to hit.
Well, yeah, that too.
Yeah.
But
I think everybody thinks, and we can look up when the next ban list is, but I don't think we have anything else to say about Goldo. He good. He does the thing.
Yeah, no, like I said, this is your
Road.
starting point for a lot of shenanigans.
Meet Gusto Thunbolt. Hello, I am a lightning dog.
it's a Kirin.
Lightning
Yes.
dog.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
I think it's supposed to
be
invoke a
Kirin.
Kyrian, but the fact that it looks like somebody like spirit gums with a horn onto its head. It's a wolf, though, is the thing.
Yeah,
This
it
is
looks-
the dog.
yeah.
It looks
yeah.
dumb because you got the horn spike, but you also got the spikes on like the back armor, which
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
once again, I think way too many colors, because like we've got yellow lightning and very yellow like saddle and armor with brown straps. We've got
Yeah.
blue
Eye.
Gusto sigils for some reason, and we've got purple eyes like Loth said, and also his fur is green. And then also there's like shitloads of blues and purples in this weird.
Yeah.
say the name of one of
Vortex
my
behind
favorite YouTubers.
I
Purple Eyes,
think
what the fuck?
Yeah, I think that if they had cut probably the purple out on the eyes, like the purple vortex, I don't necessarily mind because
I'll actually I'll say this. I think there's one of the few cards I've seen where the background is just awful for it.
Yeah, I don't know
I
why
know-
this lightning guy has a dark monster vortex behind it.
So I
if-
think
if
it's
I'll be-
supposed to be because, and I'll spoil this now. He is a thunder monster. I
Yeah.
suppose that's supposed to be like a storm cloud like
It's
effect.
still
It
bad.
really doesn't
Like,
look very
it's
good.
bad.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I
if it
do
was
agree
gray
that it's
instead of
not great.
purple, I think that
What's
would have
up,
worked
Bob?
better.
To go with
I
the
do
Gusto
agree, though.
aesthetic, if this guy was just had a single medallion, no armor, and was in the forest, he'd look a lot better than what's going on here.
You know,
Yeah, I will also say that he could probably keep the armor, just lose the spikes. Because that if
well,
if you
change
lose
the armor's
spikes-
color because it's got a bad case of piss yellow.
yeah,
I'm
That-
gonna
that
have to
makes-
make
that
like
makes
an
armor feel
announcement
like-
with an at everyone to be like, shut the fuck up about the killing stone. We all know.
Oh
the
god.
killing stone.
Okay, David is literally the last one to learn about
Yeah,
this.
no, I don't know what this is either.
You guys don't. How have you existed on our server for like 2 weeks and not heard the Tom Most Special Rock is broken?
Oh,
I haven't.
God.
Oh,
I,
that's
uh,
dope.
I just didn't
I heard
connect
on
it with
different
B there.
servers.
If you're asking
Heck,
me
even
how have I
my-
existed on their server, I've been in school.
Told me about that.
Okay, well, I'm gonna
In
have to.
schools?
I'm gonna have to at everyone and just be like, shut the fuck up. We heard, because like every couple of days somebody thinks they're the first fucking person, and it's killing me.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That could be Tamamo killing you.
no, it's
It's-
definitely this guy. This guy is slowly killing me. So
Yeah.
Gusto
It's
Thunbolt, by the
Futurama.
way. Also, possibly, I mean, it's Sunborto. I would have gone with Stunbolt instead of translating it literally as Thunbolt because it's dumb.
I would have
Fuck
gone
it,
with
call him
Thunderbolt.
Gusto Bolt. Just cut the
Yeah.
Thun out. You don't need that part of the name. That's not the
Yeah.
mechanically important. Just call him
Yeah.
Gusto Bolt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a dog name. Anyway, this is a level 4 Thunder, so it's not a psychic, so it doesn't work for those psychic effects, though it is a non-tuner.
It is.
Level 4,
Oh.
1500 attack, 1200 defense. At the end of the battle phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard this turn, you can banish one Gusto monster from your graveyard, special summon one wind-type psychic monster with 1500 or less defense from your deck.
Yeah. So usually this is how I was saying you cheat out Windar in Gusto.
Yeah.
Because you go Eagle into this guy, crash this guy, and then at the end of your battle phase, you bring out Windar.
But yeah, the
Well,
fact that this
sacrifice
isn't, unlike a lot of
creation.
our other guys, this is at the end of the battle phase.
Yeah.
That, talking about being slow, right? Like,
Yeah.
that really emphasizes that from the beginning,
Well,
Gusto is meant to be a grindier archetype. You don't get
Yeah.
the advantage off Thunbolt until the... Which really sounds like I'm saying Stunbolt with a lisp. You don't get the advantage off this guy until
Stunbolt.
after the battle phase is over. So...
Yeah. So there.
Matt,
What you're kind of supposed to do is if you have a way to get Eagle to the field, you crash this guy, get Windar, you go into the Sync 7 because the Sync 7 has an end of phase at the end phase effect.
I think I killed off.
You got
But
him a little bit.
also, the other important thing about this is that you send this guy to the graveyard, you banish itself. And
yeah.
so, and then it semi-generically searches for wind psychics. So you can use him out of archetype. Granted, wind psychic archetypes. I mean, there's a few, but
I mean, Virtual World is like still a rogue
Yeah,
tier
I
deck.
think the main
Yeah.
problem
It
with
is
this
still
in
hanging
VDub is
on.
that VDub's methods to search themselves are a lot better because they just dump their shit
that's
in
the
the graveyard.
problem. VW just goes, why do we need this?
well, yeah, no, I wasn't referring to VW. I was actually because wind witches are psychic.
Yeah, Gusto Wind Witch is much better of a pairing.
Yeah,
Because that's another sinker archetype.
and so
And also, Wind Witch is really interesting and a little sad because when they first come out, being an anime archetype, they're really just how to turbo Crystal Wing or Clear Wing.
Yeah.
They
Well,
didn't have like
I
their
think-
own Sync 8. So like you don't even have enough Wind Witches for several years to play them on their own. You usually use them as a plug-in for Speedroid. So using them as a plug-in for Gusto to get more synchro options also just works.
yeah, I was gonna say, unfortunately, I suspect part of that comes down to Rin just didn't have a lot of screen time.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah.
usually how that goes with Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, one duel.
Yeah.
I will say, as I've been watching Zale a lot more, it's like surprisingly, the female that gets the most screen time is the one that is there for emotional support.
Well, yeah, no, I'll say this. Zexel does a pretty good job with their female character. I mean, she doesn't duel for most of the show, but she at least has a relevancy.
she's the normie.
Yeah.
Also, she's like, that's a doubt for now.
There's
So
a lot
this
of
is our
characters that
first.
just
This is
don't
our
duel.
first Die Gusto, Big Gusto Eagle. It is
Yeah.
literally Windar with Big Eagle.
Okay, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. This looks derpy as shit.
It looks
This
like
looks
the
a
big
little-
It got big.
When this one is blown up to full size, this one looks a little silly. Like just
Yeah.
the.
Yeah.
I don't know where Windar is standing. Is the thing like
I think
Eagle's
it's
body looks vertical?
He's standing on the wing
Maybe
nubs.
maybe he's flying directly above you.
Wait, no, I
Also-
think there's a. Wait, no, I think there's like. What if there's like a place for him to like hook his legs
Wait,
into
what-
like
what-
the
Yeah, I
Well,
think there might be a saddle
solution
mount on the
here.
back of the armor.
Yeah.
Look, we're
Yeah.
missing the obvious solution here. He's a psychic. He's psychic floating.
Yeah, sure. He could be
No.
just DBZ flying back there. I also think that I feel like Eagle's proportions are weird. Like his body is so thick because it's rounded to fill out that armor. His tail is like so long, but his
Yeah.
head is still quite tiny,
Yeah,
Yeah.
at least compared to his
I'm
body
not,
now.
They murdered
I'm
my
not gonna defend that one.
Also, his feet are so small. Like,
Yeah, his feet are
like,
also
this
kind
guy
of
would-
weirdly out of
This
proportion.
guy would die in the wild. Just
I
straight
want
up.
to bring up
because-
a thing of how it looks like. This is the synchro, right? Or this is just a
Yeah, no,
Correct.
Daigustos
Yeah,
are the
yeah,
synchros.
this
This
is-
is
Okay,
this is
then this
literally
one is
we
legit.
mentioned this before. Yeah.
Then this was legit. Just two of the birds struck together.
No, it's
Oh,
goose.
no.
It's Windar plus eagle. It's not.
It's just eagle
Yeah.
dot embiggened.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
'Cause
then,
I'm just saying, like the metal
problem-
bits look like it's like two smaller wings that's strapped onto it.
Well, that's just because they have the feathers on the wings. That's just he's so fat now he needs 2 crests.
You know, this is like a house kept Gusto that got way too obese and just has tiny little, like, this bird would die in the wild.
For comparison, here's an actual adult bald eagle, like proportion wise. Notice how
Yeah.
its head isn't like tiny compared to its body. Like it's
yeah,
got a
no.
rounded body, but it kind of the neck narrows. Daigusto eagle has no neck.
The bit is, I think they didn't change its head size at all. I think.
Yeah,
everything
it's a
changed.
weird one. I assume it's
Yeah.
supposed to be like magic or psychic powers or something make him large, but it's
Probably.
definitely it doesn't fit very well.
Yeah,
That is-
and unfortunately, this is kind of the biggest guy you have in Gusto.
And I will say, Daigusto Eagles is a wind psychic synchro.
Yep.
Being level 7 with 2600 attack, pretty decent stat line. This is a 7
Oh,
that
yeah, no.
gets over Stardust Dragon.
Yeah, no,
Um, And your only materials are you need a 1 tuner and then 1 or more non-tuner Gusto monsters. So you can
Yeah.
use generic tuners with this if you've got better ones.
hmm
Um,
and
and,
that's
yeah,
how I
2600,
believe
1800.
most of the synchros go. I think most of them, the non-tuner is the Gusto lock.
Yeah. We've honestly a little bit like Dragoonity, but that still is type lock sometimes. But
Yeah.
like unlike a lot of our first gen of dual terminal archetypes, these synchros have learned that like while they do want them to be somewhat archetype locked, they've learned to not completely make them to the archetype because that makes them way too shit.
Yeah,
'Cause
because
Konami, you can't guarantee that Gustos will be good right out of the box.
and here's the other thing too, that because they did that, that means that they actually mesh really well with the just generic psychic support
Yeah.
as well.
Because you've got obviously E-Telly means you can get a level 3 or lower
Yep.
tuner, and so you can easily fetch monsters like I don't know Krebins, Psychic Commander.
Yeah, I was gonna say Krebins is a
is a
2
2,
or
yeah.
3.
Krebins
Yeah,
is
so
2, but
Krebins is a little
not
a little
not for
weird in
Eagle
it, but-
specifically, but Krebins works.
Yeah.
Commander works. Like you've got a lot of options. Psychic Commander is
in my limited testing, Esper Girl I think works better.
that's another one. There's quite a wide variety of these things.
Or no, is Esper Girl 1 or 2? Anyway, this is getting off.
So this
Off
monster
track a
also
little
has an
bit.
effect. It's not just a decent stat line for a Sync 7. Once per turn
Yep.
during your end phase, you can banish 1 wind monster from your graveyard to target 1 face-down card your opponent controls, destroy it. So, as you said, this is the one with the end phase. Now, if you're doing
Yes.
this in, like, main phase 2, which does make sense, obviously, with some of your graveyard floating effects, it's okay. I will say it's a little slow for setup, because, like, Gusto is assuming you're going to be going back and forth for several turns, which
Yeah.
is kind of why they get hedged out a little bit. But this does let you pop face downs, pop set cards during your end phase, so it can possibly do you some setups.
Oh yeah, no.
And
like,
it is
it's-
monsters or spell traps. I will
And-
say to watch out if you're targeting cards, because remember, it can, if it's possible for it to trigger, they can just flip it up and be like, nah.
Yeah.
Uh,
And you do also want to watch out too, because it does start ruining your advantage
Yes.
engine. Of,
now, luckily, it's only once per turn during your end phase, so
yeah, but it is also very large, so
it'll be a little hard for your opponent to just yeet this guy with monsters. They'll probably have to use removal, but then that gives you guys in your graveyard.
yeah.
And now we've got our next Daigusto.
Although I do want to say that recycling your Daigustos is a little more difficult than your normal Gustos, because I think a lot of
I mean, there's still ways.
I-
Once again, the
yeah.
Daigustos are psychics, so you can always do Psychic Overload.
Yeah,
Shuffle back
that's
3 psychics, draw 2.
Yeah.
Which is a card that fits great into your deck as is. Generic psychic support, it's good. So this is our other Daigusto in the first wave. This is Daigusto Goldos. The spikes got worse, guys.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, unfortunately.
It's a bit much.
So this does show us that there is definitely a saddleback there.
Why is he in a gimp suit?
I don't know what this says about Winda.
It looks
This
like
is
he could
very
just hold up his
disturbing.
face and just fall on an enemy and just be like,
Like
dab.
I don't think the color
Winda-
matchup is bad. Like we talked about how
Winda
green
is-
and red go together, but
I don't know how this scene flaps its wings.
Very
I
carefully.
I want to make a point of how I remember. All of them die horrifically.
This is still just a
but
bonus.
they die due to biological weapons though, Axe, or possibly
Oh,
chemical
fair.
weapons.
They die to actual war crimes.
They died because they were just like.
Yeah, by the way, in
what
case you guys forgot about how bad Noelia was, she also poisons the Mist Valley later.
I
Yeah.
do think that bringing up
Yeah.
Poison Winds, like
We could probably bring that up at the
artistically-
end of this first
Yeah.
batch because
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
couple that have some story related stuff.
Yeah,
but yeah,
there's
it's
that whole thing.
Noelia, that's the issue,
Also-
right?
Also,
Yeah.
I will personally punch you if you play Poison Winds against me.
so anyway, this is
looking at
Goldos. Is there anything
was
else to
Gishki, right?
say about this?
Noelia?
It's just
Yeah.
Goldos but bigger, which doesn't fix any of the problems with Goldos.
Yeah. No. Goldos, your problem your problem was that you needed to get rid of the spikes, not make them bigger.
So this is a level 5 Psychic Synchro, 2200 attack, 800 defense. So again, for a Sync 5, decent stat line.
Yeah. No.
The materials are the same as the last one, so 1 tuner of any type and then 1 or more non-tuner monsters. Though obviously, Goldo plus Winda does make this.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
once per turn, you can shuffle 2 Gusto monsters from your graveyard into your main deck. Target one face-up monster your opponent controls, destroy that target. So again, Goldos, very good. You mean I get to get a pop for free because I presumably had to use 2 Gustos to make this, and I get to shuffle those guys back.
Yeah.
That is face-up
no,
monsters only, but I think this one is a little bit faster and probably more directly impactful than Daigusto Eagle is.
Yeah, Eagle. Like at this point, if I were to whip out my Gusto deck, Eagle I might even cut just for.
I mean,
to put
you
in
have a
dark.
better Wind 7. Well, actually,
Yeah.
I think you have a better Wind 7. Does everybody have a Clear
yeah.
Wing?
No, I think I have 2 actually.
Yeah, that was one of our last Ghost Rares, so I think there's
Yeah.
quite a few of those guys floating around. So like,
I also have the really good Wind 8,
yeah.
but
So
that's for another time. But yeah, no. The other thing that this guy lets you do is, since Gusto's really good at recurring, you can climb with this guy
yeah.
if you're able to get out another tuner monster. And 2200 attack, that's you can there's a decent chance he survives that.
Yeah. I mean, it competes pretty well with other Sync 5s.
Yeah.
Once we go to Sync 6s, I don't know. Like, that's the stats
Yeah.
on Sync 6s are all over the place. You've got, like,
Yeah.
guys with, like, 2k attack, and then you've got fucking Goyo Guardian. Like, I don't know what's going on with this number anymore.
Well, I think that was caused by anime / possibly manga things. I think they made the stat line, and then I don't think they were planning on certain synchros to become super easy to make.
Well, and that's why they eventually gave Eroded Goyo for the restriction.
Yeah, which I think is a fair restriction.
All right, so let's go into our second wave. Welcome to Gusto 2, even more anime. This is
Yep.
just a fucking anime opening shot.
Oh yeah, no, it is.
This is Kamui of Gusto, by the way.
Remember that
I'm
face.
hoping
You'll be
so.
seeing him much later when we go over Beast Tamers.
Yeah, Survivor.
This is one of the 2 that make it out of dual terminal relatively okay.
Yes, and this is Pilika's dad,
Yes.
canonically. Him and Reese get together. You haven't met her yet, but she's in our list now.
Yeah. She should be part of Wave 2, I think.
Yes, she will be after one more guy who has a very unfortunate name. But yeah, so this is Kamui Hope of Gusto, and this is basically just a guy. He's green. He's got a stick. He's got a bird. He's a Gusto.
Yeah. No.
I once again like that these
floor.
psychic Gustos go back to having really good backgrounds, right?
Yeah.
Very dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is Pilika's father. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's related to Win, because if Win's supposed to be Winda's sister, then she would be from Windar. Anyway, speaking of Winda, though, unfortunately, Kamui's effect is basically just bad Winda. This is a level 2 Wind with 200 attack, 1,000 defense, flip, special summon a Gusto tuner from your deck. And with 1k defense, that means probably he's being attacked and destroyed when you do that.
Yeah, no, Kamui kind of gets run over. Like, there's good and bad comparing him to Winda.
Yeah.
Like, he's obviously worse to tutor out. But he's a little less like Winda. Once Winda's out, you can just like, oh, I'm gonna zap Winda with some kind of spell. Kamui, you can do that as well, but because he's face down, you can do some mind game shit. But at the end of the day, yeah, like you said, he's kind of just bad Winda.
Yeah, it's
the other thing that hurts him too is that he's level 2, and well, no, that doesn't. Sorry, that's not so bad actually. Level 2 is fine.
I mean, the main thing is
level 2 on the non-tuner is fine.
Yeah. The main thing is, since it's special summon any tuner, you still have a decent amount of flexibility in your levels, and
yeah.
I think the main thing is if you can find a way to actually protect him, that's much better, right? Like, if you can set Kamui on turn 1, and then you have a battle trap or some other kind of, like, protection that can prevent him from being blown up, and either flip him on your turn or have him not die when he's attacked, you can very easily set into your synchro plays.
Yeah, I was going to say, that is the one thing that he is much better at than Winda, is Kamui is... I am immediately going to be making Goldos. So he does have that, where Winda, you kind of have to do a bit of a dance to get to something.
But this still does show kind of our general, like, fetching theme.
Yep.
Okay, so...
For a second, I almost thought the bird had 2 sets of wings, but that's just part of the coat that Kamui is wearing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no.
Alright, so now we have the very unfortunately named...
Wait, does that bird have a Hoge?
Yeah, he's got a little feather on top. I think it's a little bit more like a feather pompadour kind of thing, because he's got, like, 2 flicks.
Yeah, but that is Tiny Bird.
Because he's got 2 spikes.
I hope he doesn't become big and stupid.
He would probably become big and stupid. But speaking of stupid, behold, Musto, Oracle of Gusto.
Gusto. God damn it.
Now, admittedly, like this reads different in Japanese. He is Musto, priest of Gusta. It's still not that good. So this is Musto, the amazing and powerful Musto.
Before David says it, to say that this guy looks like the personification of the color beige.
There's no trivia for this man. Oh no.
Yeah, so unfortunately, like, this guy doesn't get used. We'll get into it in a minute, but
that seems unfortunate because he has a decent stat line, but we'll get there in a second. Yeah, he's just a guy,
yeah.
He's got his fucking goatee. I think he might even have a full chin strap. It looks like he's got some extra hair around there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like his staff.
His staff is cool. That's the only thing I've really got to say about this guy.
But
And this guy's appearance, you got anything else to look like
This guy actually does have a chin strap.
Yes, I did say that.
Yeah.
Anything else about this dude's art?
He's got tassels coming off of his cloak
Yeah.
that look really weird, considering you can see his long ass ponytail behind him.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring
Yeah.
up. Also just noticed he has a really long fucking ponytail. This fucking
Yeah.
nerd, this hippie ass nerd, looking out here for.
Yeah.
Well,
Look
I
at his
mean,
He's an advisor.
let's be honest.
Well, no, he's a priest.
Yeah. he's
And
an
also, no,
advisor.
his stat line does not read advisor.
Yeah.
No, this is our second burliest man in Gusto. So this is a
He is
Wind
old.
Psychic 1800. I figure I can save us from talking about how bland this guy is. So
Oh,
he's
yeah.
got a fairly big stat line for level 4. And
Yeah.
once per turn, you can target one Gusto monster in your given one face-up monster on the field, shuffle the first target into the deck, and if you do, negate the second target's effect until the end phase. So this is an okay recovery option. I don't think it's as good as Calm, but this is a negate effect. He is a level 4. He has decent stats, but it's
Yeah.
a very weird fit for the archetype.
So the problem is that if you start including too many things to shuffle back, you actually run out of material in the graveyard fairly quick. And
Yeah.
so you have to start picking which effects you want to be using. And so unfortunately for Musto here, that means that typically you want to draw more than
Yeah, you want to replace your
negate.
cards. I mean, it's
Then-
good. The problem is that this guy
Yeah.
exists when generic effect negation exists.
Yeah, and
Fiendish
the
Chain
other
has been
problem-
existed for forever, and I think was like always unlimited. Have they ever
I
limited
think
Fiendish Chain?
Fiendish Chain was still fairly new towards part 2 of Dual Terminal.
I
I
don't
don't
think
think
they
so, no,
ever
this was
limited
2012.
Fiendish. Here's the thing: I don't think they ever limited Fiendish Chain for the simple fact of, I believe Breakthrough Skill came out not too long after this, and it was
Yeah.
just better.
I
Yeah.
mean, no, you guys are incorrect. Fiendish Chain existed since the year 2010.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was
that's a
just
lot.
wrong.
Yeah, the
But
exchange
I will
never
say
did.
though that
And it was reprinted.
well
a
shit,
couple of
never
times.
mind. I won't just say something because I forgot what I was gonna say.
But yeah, no, I think just in general though, effect negation.
Oh,
Like I do
yes.
believe Breakthrough wasn't too far after this.
Yes, so there is one very important thing that also holds this man back, that is missing off of his text. And that is quick effect. This
Yes,
is not
also
a quick
yeah,
effect.
it's a
You-
once per
you-
turn, and that's
Yes.
the thing about the 2 cards we just mentioned, and also about Chalice, Forbidden Chalice, which would also be not too long after this guy came out, because this was
Yeah.
2012.
Oh yeah, it's Chalice I was thinking of, not
Yeah.
Chain.
This is mid 2012. This guy comes out. Those
Yeah.
are all trap cards or quick play spell cards. So while this is good if your opponent has like a disruption on the board, you can negate. It's still not good enough when there are better options for effect negation, which don't also use up your resources.
Yeah, and then the other part too is that, Palm only has 100 less attack. Sometimes that matters, but
Yeah.
like 1800 versus 1700 doesn't generally matter that much. Usually it's kind of 1600 that's the big break point in my mind.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a lot of. Sorry, I was hunting through, and apparently there's for some reason there are a lot of pictures of our next card's model in Dual Terminal.
Wonder why.
So this is the aforementioned Reese of Gusto. Kind of like Breeze, but with just an R.
Yeah.
Reese.
Yes.
Oh
So,
my God, what the
Survivor
fuck?
number 2. And I don't. I will be honest. I don't like this art.
Her
This is-
torso looks like a fucking upside down triangle with the way it just.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like,
well, so funnily enough, I do actually think this art is appropriate because this is our other tribute Gusto. So,
Yes.
she is arguably quite burly compared to the rest of the Gusto people.
Yes, she is the second strongest main deck Gusto.
So I think the
which
fact that the artist
is
tried to draw
insane.
her with like, muscle definition on her like arms, shoulders, and abs, that's a good call out. I do
Yeah.
think that her shoulders seem very broad, probably because they wanted to make sure to draw the scarf.
Yeah.
so it's a little weird. The orange bleed is interesting, but I don't think out of the question for some of the later Gustos we're going to see.
Yeah.
As we get further into this, people start to get in others. I don't know who sneezed, but bless you.
I'm just not a huge fan of
Sorry.
the hairstyle in general.
Some
that's
people will be all about the twin tails. I think it's okay.
Yeah.
It's an interesting choice to kind of like play up the flame tips of her hair.
Yeah, it is.
She's also got like a headband and ribbons. Everybody's got so many. How do these guys
She's
just
got the
live in a
one
weird
sleeve.
wind swamp? How do these guys keep making all these cool accessories?
Probably trade for them.
I
I
guess.
assume they just made it out of whatever they killed.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, so this is Ree's Whirlwind of Gusto.
Yes.
She's very gusty, and possibly breezy, and possibly windy. Also, by the way, I want to throw out there, this girl's name is like wind 3 times. Ree's like breeze, and then whirlwind, or in Japanese, shippu, gale, and then gusta, which is gust. So this is
Well,
breeze, gale, gust.
no, it's Omega. It's different. I could even get a more official one. It's Riz like Risha, which is wind in Arabic.
That also works, yeah. Rizu. But yeah, so her name just is Wind, Wind, Wind. I mean, I think they've done some interesting stuff here.
Now I'm just imagining her as
Yeah.
the fucking Moon of the group.
I've noticed
My
she's
werewolf-
got.
God,
She's
I need
also
that
got
movie so bad.
special eyes, which I don't think we've seen anybody else's
brain.
eyes in enough
Yeah, I
definition.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen that on any of the human.
So that's a little weird. I think I'll say this. I don't think Reese is necessarily a bad art. She's a little bit of a weird art. Like, I don't
a little bit.
dislike her per se, but there's definitely like a lot of different elements and arguably a several different design concepts in here that like are coming across a little strange. Like, why does she have a giant fur tuft on her back? You know?
Because it gets cold up there in the clouds when you're flying on the back of a giant bird.
But
Ignore
yeah,
the
so,
fact that she has her, midriff exposed and
Yeah.
thigh highs. And...
By the way, there is the as you might expect, the TCG has censored this art. They just covered her abs with some weird olive green stuff and extended her stockings to show no thigh gap. It's
Feels unnecessary.
yeah. I also don't
Yeah.
like if you really wanted to get in there,
I do
somebody should probably
appreciate-
talk to Konami about canceling them about their fear of powerful women with muscles. Like
Yeah, no, I
seriously,
do
why are you afraid of women with abs, Konami?
I do
They are
appreciate
actually
the
afraid.
abs.
Go ahead,
I'm
Doug.
not going to say it is part of the Japanese cultural propensity of disliking cross or masculine features on women, but I'm going to strongly think it.
Well, but the OCG has no problem showing off girls with abs. It's the TCG who's like, oh no, God, a woman's midriff? We can't show that. Cover that
Yeah,
up.
but Konami of America is fucking weird because they're still run by largely Japanese execs.
I think
least
it's
now.
Also, by
I
the
think
way, I want to bring this up. Somebody did bring this up in chat. Shout out to Kamui. Kamui and Reese,
I mean,
y'all.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think
Thumbs
he's,
up for
I think
you,
he
man.
I think he scored up, I guess is the way to
I
put
mean,
it.
he could
Well,
break me.
Here's the thing. I think he scored with the only other survivor.
Possibly, yeah.
Everyone.
Oh, okay, so it
Everyone
was
else in our tribe is
Bravo
dead.
affair. It
I'm
was a
gonna
Bravo
go
affair,
out
okay.
Well,
Okay,
Well, we're the last of our
let's talk
tribe.
about
I mean,
Reese's.
I don't want to
Yeah.
say Cowboy looks bad, but he also looks like he's about 5, so I think I'll go to jail for saying that.
I mean,
Also,
it's
just
okay.
shows
Years
her-
later.
I mean,
Yeah.
he was very like anime
Or
protest.
in his Gusto art, he looks like a fucking.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe
But Ted-
we should go find him with the ritual beast to see how well
But
he
anyway,
aged, I
so
guess.
Reese's stats, she is a level 5 psychic. She has 1900 attack and 1400 defense, so she still gets under most of those fun numbers for Gustos.
Yep.
And then once per turn, you can return one card from your hand to the bottom of your deck to target one monster your opponent controls and one face-up Gusto monster you control. Switch control of both monsters. So Reese is a creature swap, though with a cost, on a stick. which is
Yeah.
pretty spicy because, as David has actually shown on some progression episodes, most of your Gustos, those trigger when they are destroyed and sent to your graveyard, so even if you swap them, you still get the effect.
Yeah, and this is also one of the other ways to, I think you can trigger Winda. No, you cannot trigger Winda with this, if you give the opponent Winda. But it is a way to try and get over some of the big bungus monsters.
Yeah, if your opponent has a large monster, you can just get it out of your way by switching and then still get your advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I was saying earlier with Thunbolt back there, yeah, this is kind of the other Thunbolt target that you would typically go into.
Yeah.
Once Reese came out, of course.
Yeah.
Because then you can, main phase 2 start switching stuff around. Granted, yes, not in battle phase, but
No, but
you can
it's
still
yeah, you still get your advantage and you can do some of your
Yeah.
things. But all right. So let's go on to our further birds. This is Falco. Falco
Yeah, and
punch.
you have not seen me play this for one very unfortunate reason, which I'll get to in a minute.
But yeah, so Falco, Busto Falco. I mean, you guys can
Yeah.
get
Sure,
your Falco
nothing
jokes,
bad
but
ever happens to this. Nothing bad ever happens to this person ever. I'm sure.
I mean, at least he looks cute.
yeah, I was
Oh,
getting,
yeah,
like,
no.
I think some parts of this are derpy, but the fact that this is very clearly a small bird makes it kind
Yeah.
of cute.
Oh yeah,
Like his head is
like,
still like very big in proportion to his body. You know.
his wings seem a little small, but I do like this art for the most part. That is not the reason I don't.
Just cute.
Yeah.
So I think that's the general consensus here.
He's kind of a cute guy. Okay, so Gusto Falco is a level 2 tuna, winged beast, 600 attack, 1400 defense. So for a 2-star, decent defense.
Yeah, no.
When this face-up card is sent to the field of the graveyard, except by battle, you can special summon one Gusto monster from your deck in face-down defense position. So basically, immediately, in case you guys didn't remember, Falco is Kamui's partner. So his effect is to synergize with Kamui.
Yes.
Yep.
So there's 2 problems with this. First, he has to be destroyed not by battle.
No. Sent. I would like to point out, sent to the graveyard. So
okay.
you
Never
can
mind.
sync him off to get his effect as well. But
Okay,
yes,
never mind.
a lot of the
That's-
previous Gusto cycling effects have required battle destruction.
Well,
Yeah,
discard
okay.
for
That's-
non-cost.
Yeah.
It's
So this is
No, sent from the
that-
field to graveyard. You cannot discard.
Yeah.
Ah.
So this is that's okay. That's not the problem. The problem is his level. Level 2 in Gusto just doesn't work very well. You kind of need to be going into generic psychic synchros or out of archetype synchros if you're using Gusto Falco. Which primarily means that you'd probably be going either into 4 or 6.
Now, by the way, spoilers, but don't worry, Falco does get a happy ending. In the card, Ritual Beast Return, Old Man Kamui gets to reunite with Gusto, who come back when we broke all the stuff.
Yay!
It's very cute. We will probably look at that later when we get to Ritual Beasts.
Yeah.
Well, first we have another one of the Thunders, though. We have another one of these monstrosities.
Which one is it?
No, it's the second one. It's oh god, sorry. The name is also bad. This is, let me make sure I get the art up. It's taking a while to load sometimes, the art assets.
If it's the one I'm thinking.
I'm pretty sure this is the only other
Oh, okay.
Thunder. This
Yeah.
is
You better not be making too much fun.
Gusto Squiro.
Yeah, no, that's who I thought of. Look, this is obviously the mascot of Gusto when it's not
No.
the birds. And
So this is the one that's on like that if this is an anime, this is the one that'd be like running across all the trees and like saying some weird
I mean,
lines.
it looks better than Thunderbolt.
I was about to say
yeah.
it's Thunbolt at home.
Well, it's better than that.
but
at
they
least.
both-
I mean, this
both-
one has at least got a lot more cuteness to it than Thunbolt.
Oh, yeah.
And it is less busy,
There's
and
less
there's a
cute.
less shit background.
He has a simpler color scheme. He's got lighter and darker green. He's got red armor, and then he's
Yeah.
got pink eyes. He needs to go see a doctor, and then obviously like a little
Yeah.
yellow on his head dongle, his sorry piece on his head, which is a little unfortunate.
The only thing I don't like about the art is the
Honestly, I think that other than that and the fact that his eyes are pink, which is a hitherto unseen color, and it's very pink. They are hot pink. I'm like,
yeah.
that's a little weird, and the little bulb on his head is just kind of like a little too much.
I like it. I think it looks cute.
Oh yeah, no.
I do also kind of think like his patterns are a little like extra, like he has arrows and thunderbolts on his face and stuff. But
But how else would you know that he's a thunder type?
there's definitely some okay elements to Squirrel.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, I don't know why they decided to do that because it's literally Tsukiriru. So it's squirrel in Japanese. It should have an L in there, guys.
Well, now it
it's
rhymes.
L's.
You should have just said Gusto Squirrel. It's not like you've done weirder shit.
But now it rhymes.
Yeah. So this is an interesting one. This is a level 2 Thunder Tuner for Gusto. With 0 attack and 1800 defense. This is a
Yes.
fat-ass squirrel.
Fattest ass in Gusto.
Which is pretty interesting because its effect still triggers when destroyed, though not destroyed by battle. When destroyed by a card effect, so I guess the idea is you want to stall out an opponent's attack and make them blow it up.
Yeah.
If this card is destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one level 5 or higher Gusto monster from your deck.
So this kind of leads me to assume that Squirrel is supposed to be Reese's familiar.
Yeah, possibly. There's no trivia for this guy, so I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
Because
she doesn't
there
have
is a
one,
synchro
so
form,
I would assume.
but Spreeze, as we get to see later, that is Reese plus Vylon Sphere, so that's her with Vylon
Yeah.
technology.
Yes. Unfortunately, I think that she doesn't get the chance to do that with poor Squirrel here. I think Squirrel is probably dead by the time Freeze is doing
Yeah, no,
anything
this
important.
guy's gonna fucking die.
And I will say, I feel like while it's good for them to have a different, like, have a monster that responds to effect destruction, I feel like you side deck Squirrel. Like, you don't assume your
Yes.
opponent's gonna, like, drop a TT on Gusto Squirrel or something, right? So you have to
So-
know your opponent is playing cards that destroy before you decide this guy is worth it. He is still a level 2, but you have other level 2 tuners.
Yeah. I was gonna say the other problem though is once again level 2 in Gusto is not the level you want your tuner to be if you're going into Gusto stuff. So that means that you're once again having to go into either generic or psychic stuff.
I mean, I could see some pretty funny applications.
I
for
mean,
him in some
we're
hybrid
about to go to
decks.
Daigusto Falcos. I would like to remind everybody that is a 4.
Yeah.
So they do have a sync 4 that works with 2 and 2.
He's not good though. Well, it's not that he's not good, it's just
Well,
he doesn't
I will say with Falcos, and I'm about to go get his card anyway because we're out of the
Yeah.
novels. But with Falcos, you don't make Falcos and stop. Like Falcos it's like summoning TG Hyper Librarian, right? Like you don't make TG Hyper Librarian to just sit on it. Ideally, you do it and then you pop off.
Yeah. Well, Falcos you do at the end of popping off.
Yeah, so let's pull up the card art. I think this one's actually a little bit better than the ones we usually see. Like, he's way
Oh,
more
yeah.
spikier, but I think these spikes are a little more, like...
They're pointed in directions
Yeah.
that are more useful and less in the way.
They're also not, like, multicolored, so they're less cartoony.
Yeah.
I also think that I feel like Falcos is... This is Daigusto Falcos, by the way. I feel like his
Yeah.
proportions are a little better. It might just be the camera angle, but his
I think
body
so,
seems
too.
a little better built.
Yeah, and like I said, it looks like the
Yeah, he
spikes
doesn't-
are actually there to deflect away from the face, to deflect
Yeah.
away from the wing joints.
Yeah.
Like, except for... there's, like,
Even
a
those
couple
lower ones
scared
are still a
spikes,
little
but-
curved out. Like, a
Yeah.
wing doesn't do, like, straight lines. But, Loth, you were saying?
He doesn't look like if he were to crouch down or bend his body at a weird angle, he'd fucking stab himself.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And so, as you can see, this is Falco plus Kamui.
Yep.
Kamui looking a little more serious up here. He's got his face on.
Yeah.
His war stage.
I think Kamui's art
Call
by
that a war
himself
face?
it just makes him look really young.
Yeah.
He is the hope for Gusto after
He
all.
looks
I
like he's
believe.
13.
So, this is their Sync 4 Psychic,
Mhm.
level 4. 1400 attack, 1200 defense, though also technically not 1400 because of his effect. But he's
Yeah.
just one tuner and one or more non-tuner Gusto monsters. And then when this card is synchro summoned, all Gusto monsters currently on the field gain 600 attack. So as David pointed out earlier, you make this guy after you've already done your stuff. So you
Yeah,
have to have
which-
Gustos on board.
Yeah, which I mean, it can make some of your guys fairly big.
Yeah,
But-
most of the Gusto synchros have pretty decent stats. Like, arguably even Falcos himself.
Yeah.
If you're synchro summoning
Yeah.
it, that makes Falcos go up to 2k for a sync 4.
Yeah. Yeah, no. It's just that unfortunately the lines to get to Falcos are not as clean
Yeah,
as the lines to get
once
to
again, I
other
assume
things.
the idea is you have to, like, have set Kamui and be able to flip Kamui and not have him go away. So you have Falco on the board, and then also you go into, like, this is turn 3. You then go into another line that ends you on another Gusto synchro.
Yeah.
So it's possible, it's just a little slow, a little methodical.
Yeah, and unfortunately,
The
like,
rewards
this
are
is-
probably worth it if you can make it happen, but not worth
Yeah.
it if you try to force it.
Yeah, because, for instance, if you can hit the Daigusto Falcos buff on Eagles, that's a 3,200 sync 7 there. That's worth it, because that's in the range of you can contest most of the sync 8s.
By the way, guys, if you're wondering why you're not hearing anything from the Peanut Gallery, it's because they're just doing trades quietly behind our backs.
Yeah.
They're not even.
I also have-
not even Dallas is bothering to talk jank strategy
Yeah.
about Gustos.
I've never tried it. I've not. Like I said it before, I have very little experience with Gusto as a deck.
Yeah, like I tried Falcos. It's
You mean
just
Dallas?
the
You haven't
lines-
memorized every single tournament appearance of the word Gusto ever, like you apparently do with every Yu-Gi-Oh monster that we talk about.
Look,
I think this is the one
You know how many
time he
people
was
stop,
actually
like, with
leaning
her
on
deck
me
showed up on the
to
list?
talk about some
No,
of
that's
this.
okay. Like I think you're because you've actually played this with Prague. I think you have
Yeah.
decent insight. I'm just like audience. If
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
wondering what the rest of these chuckle fucks are doing, they're just
Here's
sitting
the thing.
quietly in a corner trading Yu-Gi-Oh
Here's the
cards.
thing.
I'm not.
When we get to the next archetype, I'm gonna be able to talk because I played that deck. I've just
Yeah.
not played. Like,
I'm-
yes. So, fun fact: Gusto had one tournament appearance ever. It was in 2018. It was a Gusto invoked Wind Witch deck.
I can see that.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I could actually see that too. Actually, especially if you're because
Or actually, it's not invoked. They just. Can I say fuck Yu-Gi-Oh! Top decks sometimes because they fucking say decks are decks when they have one card in the side deck of it?
Does it have
Ah.
Bakuba as a side?
No, it's not even Mechaba. It's Raijin and one copy of Invocation.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna
okay,
say it's
that
gonna
makes
be
sense. It's
Raijin,
wind, yeah. But,
which
well,
Raijin
so-
is surprisingly decent. Book of Moon on a stick that's got a
So
decent
let
sized
us talk
body.
about weird combos then. And Dallas, you may
Yeah.
have some input because this is Daigusto Phoenix.
Yeah, no, this card I know more about.
So,
Yeah.
before we even talk about his appearance, let's talk about what he is. Because this is one of those wild combos. So, this
Yeah.
guy is not a winged beast. I think chat would get it if I say it, so I'm just going to say it if I do the guessing game. This is a wind pyro type monster. The first one ever in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yep.
And
wow.
still one of the only ones.
Also, if I get to an earlier point, if we ever do Machina, Geargia, Gadget, or Speedroids, I could actually put input in.
So
Okay,
this-
thanks for that distraction. Anyway,
Yeah.
I can say stuff about this card because it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so this is Daigusto Phoenix. Obviously, in case you guys can't tell from the color palette and the fire, I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be, once we all decide to team up, this is a Gusto Laval kind of
Hybrid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what most of the XCs are supposed to represent, are the different tribes contributing
Because they're layering
like
on top
one
of each other.
half. Yeah, one half of a thing. with
Because
each
like
other.
Laval Chain is a Gishki monster with Laval energy. Another Daigusto we're going to talk about, Emerald, who you've probably heard of, and we'll probably have a lengthy talk about because that's
Yeah.
card is
Yeah.
banned. That's
Yep.
clearly like a Gem Knight plus a Gusto. So Phoenix is a Wind Pyro, a very unique typing, and
Yeah.
possibly one of your reasons to play level 2s because it is a level 2 Xyz.
Yes, I would say more so than Falcos. I would rather make Phoenix if I
Yeah.
if
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 you
I
were
had
putting
a
2
two
2s
and a
on
two.
board, yeah, you'd go for this.
It's just that, once again, the slight issue is putting 2s into your Gusto deck
Yeah.
makes your synchro climbing a little more awkward.
So, this is well, is there anything anyone wants to say about his art? I don't think there's a lot because it's a flaming
It's like a raw.
chicken.
It looks way
Yeah.
better up close.
Oh yeah, no, like
I
Well,
was
also,
just
this is
for,
one of those cards that unfortunately I think has only ever been printed as a secret. Yeah, it's been printed once as a secret rare, so
Oh yeah, no,
it's
it's
very
super
blurry.
resolved.
Oh, yeah.
I have a question about its face. Is it like
I
a
believe
closed
that's
rock?
its tongue.
I know, but is
well,
it like
it's
a
yeah,
closed
it's
rock,
they're
or is
Lavals.
it like
It's Laval related, so all of the Laval like monstery monsters look like they're made of like living rock. Yes.
yeah, because it's like it has like this weird yellow quartz that makes like parts of its beak and then its tongue and then its eye.
Eye, nostril, tongue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
He's got a floating headband.
Like this guy is metal.
Yeah,
I like him.
right.
Like you would not want to meet this motherfucker coming screaming out of the sky if you were, say, a
I thought you were about to say
Gishki
you don't want to see this.
or a Steel Swarm, right?
Yeah, no.
Nah.
You don't want to come across this guy in a dark alleyway.
Well, if
would-
he was in a dark alleyway, that alleyway would
It
no
wouldn't
longer
be a dark
dark.
alleyway.
It
It
would
would
be
just be
teal color.
it would just be an alleyway.
Look how on fire this guy is.
Yeah, it would be an alleyway.
He'd
You
melt
notice
the
from miles
alleyway.
away.
And I think that the much like with Reese's effect, like her hairstyle, the orange-green counterplay actually works well together.
Oh, yeah, no, it really does. Well,
Yeah.
in this case, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, I think we're done with this art. So this is as I said, Wind Pyro Xyz, rank 2, 1500 attack, 1100 defense, which I think is pretty okay for rank 2s. They're
Yeah,
kind of
that's-
weird sometimes. It's
That-
generic, any 2 level 2 monsters. And then once per turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card to target one face-up wind monster you control. This turn, it can attack twice during each battle phase. So
yeah, that's,
this just detach 1, give a wind monster a double attack.
yeah, that is like it's good. Again, the problem is that it's in Gusto.
Yeah,
that
making
kind of
this-
wants to control with effects more than straight up attacking.
Yeah, making this work in Gusto is hard, but as just generic wind support, this is a very decent rank 2. Anytime you can
Oh,
make
yeah,
make a rank 2 monster in a wind deck, you should consider this guy because he's pretty good.
You know, I can say this. This card was played because it does not say other. So
Yeah.
I know,
this
you
card
can-
was
you can-
played to shit because rank 2s generally aren't good. Like there's not a lot of good rank 2s, especially outside of specific archetypes.
Yeah,
Like
and this
I-
is just
yeah.
So
It's
because you can
generic
target
and
yourself, like if you have an open board state, that's just 3,000
So,
damage.
yeah,
per turn.
basically, ironically, other than another boy that we're probably going to go over soon, this is by far the most tournament used card.
Yeah,
So
Which,
let
I
us
mean-
move on to our next Gusto.
yeah, and again, not saying he's bad. He's good. He just doesn't really go into Gusto very well.
So this is
No.
Daigusto Sfreeze.
Yep.
Spheres.
Right, this
Um,
is just.
Or alternatively,
Older
Daigusto Sphered. Like in the Japanese, it's Sufiado. So they decided to keep more of the Reese type effect for the translation, which I think
Yeah.
works better. But because sphered is not a verb.
She's a weird mix between like a shaman and then like a Miko because it has like the slight like kimono style like.
She's Sakura.
Like,
Well,
It
I mean that would
has, like,
fit
a
because they've used Japanese words for like priestesses and so on for those.
Yeah,
Um,
and they are very much a.
yeah, they have a big
supposed to be
temple
kinda
to
that
God on their
spiritualistic
land, so
type.
yeah, it makes
So,
sense.
It's like weird, like it's
Yeah.
almost like tribalistic Shintoism, I guess.
Probably what they're going for.
Yeah,
so
probably.
Sfreeze is Reese plus Vylon's sphere. Because the Vylons shared some of their weapon technology. I think you can see that in her design because she's adding like lots of gold and white, lots of gold accents, white, some blue gems. I don't know why she has boob gems like Zero from Mega Man. Not sure why we went there.
Yeah.
You're gonna
I
shoot
also,
lasers
I
out of
will
them.
say, I don't know how you guys feel about it. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of the giant 80s hairstyle now.
I like
Yeah,
the
no.
80s hair because that's just me.
The 80s hair, but with the eyes. The eyes is what.
Her eyes are
Her
very pink.
face is a problem.
Yeah, her face doesn't
Yeah.
have a lot of detail.
It looks very derpy. I can't say it any other
Well,
way.
I assume it's because they wanted to do low detail on face, high detail on. Hey, she's swinging that staff. She's
Also,
obviously doing some.
I want to talk about
magical
her
psychic stuff.
right shoulder. Is she okay?
Yeah, her
Why
shoulder
did
is
they
very
have a shoulder
defined and
spike?
like popped forward. I think the perspective on this one's a little weird.
Yeah,
They're trying to
still
make it
got
an
the
action
one-
shot.
Honestly, the only thing I like about her design is her hair.
Yeah.
I do. I actually.
One dumb
Go ahead. You can
She's
abort
still
that.
got that one long ass
Yeah,
sleeve.
she's got the one sleeve, so you know
Yeah.
it's her. What I was gonna say was, I do actually, talking of things we like, I do like that with this whirlwind background, you see a lot of her little ribbons floating in it. Like, they're
Yeah.
trying to like give you a dramatic effect, like she whirls onto the scene, but it's still a little weird. They added
kind of
extra
assumed
detail to
that-
Reese, but I don't think that the extra details necessarily helped. They did not add.
I
extra detail
assume
where it
that
wouldn't.
with the addition of the Vylon stuff, he's probably actually just flying.
Yeah, that would make sense. She's got like extra powers, but yeah, it's a little weird.
Little weird.
And no, her eyes were not always pink. Her eyes were green before, though she did have the mark in them. But yeah, so Sfreeze is a level 6 synchro.
Yes.
So giving you more numbers. This is 2k attack, 1300 defense, so not good stats for a 6 per se.
Well, you say that.
I mean, the
Yes.
stat line is not good.
Well, the stat line is not good, but also the stat line doesn't necessarily matter.
Well, yeah. So this still has our recurring effect. So this is
Yeah.
one tuner and then one or more non-tuned Gusto monsters. So when this card is synchro summoned, you can target one Gusto card in your graveyard, add that card to your hand, and your opponent takes any battle damage from any battles involving
That
the face of
involve
Gusto
the
monster
face
you
of-
control, and then this card cannot be destroyed by battle. So it
Yes.
is interesting that like Sfreeze is supposed to be small, so you kind of
I'm trying to remember, but I think it's either 25 or 28. If your opponent has a monster that's one of those numbers or higher, and you have just Daigusto's Freeze and Gusto Goldo, it's an OTK.
yeah, there's some looping you can do. So like this is a decent tech option. It kind of like, as we said, Gustos are not super huge, so Freeze kind of like turns that on its head. Well, what if you don't have to be huge to win? What if you just
Yeah.
are small and win?
Yeah, no. When I was playing Link Evolution, and I was making the Gusto deck, Freeze is the one that got me out of a lot of those, like, oh, I'm fighting those assholes that all play Seal of Orichalcos.
And
Shit.
their monsters become large.
Yeah. And so it's just like, well, they can't destroy me by battle, and I'm just gonna crash weenies into their big guys until they die. Because she also, conveniently enough, gives you a Gusto back.
Yeah, you recycle. It's added to your hand, so you don't get to use it like right away. It doesn't special summon, but it still does
Yeah.
a recycling effect. This
And
is, I guess, you would
so-
say like.
Like in okay,
So
sorry.
I think Freeze is because it was like Eagles was 7, Goldos was 5,
5.
Falcos is 4. So Freeze as the 6, I think, is them realizing that like, okay, if you're playing Gusto, Eagles is okay, but that's not actually like how you win, right? So they decided to like give you a different win con in Freeze, and I think that's pretty fair to say that because it's
Yeah.
you know.
So
It
and
takes them
so,
years to come out with another synchro for Gusto.
Yeah. There's a slight problem with Freeze when she initially comes out in that it's a little difficult to get to her. They fix that later, and we will be going over who fixes that.
Okay, I gotta go out of my way a little bit because it's not a big wave, but there were 2 more Gusto cards in the 7th Hidden Arsenal set, the last one.
Yeah.
One of them is a big deal, but that's not the first one we're going to talk about, though. Because there was a main deck monster, who I haven't seen a lot, so I don't know if it's really very popular. But
If it's who I'm thinking of, I think
Your
he's a
Master
little
Duel
more
art.
popular now.
so
Like
this
current
is
modern day?
Gusto Griffin.
Yep, that's who I was thinking of.
So art-wise, I mean, I'm kind of surprised it took him this long to get here, but yeah, this is Gusto Griffin. It's a Griffin. It's a Gusto.
Griffin.
It's a Gusto Griffin.
I think they
It's
did a
exactly what it says
good
on the
for what it
tape.
is.
I mean, I
Yeah,
think they
it's-
did good with the extra like accessories, like the armor has the like the very bright green and the yellow border. That works. He's
Yep.
got like a little purple
Yes.
undersuit, which works.
Yeah, no.
So
this
they-
is-
they-
This guy,
Kept the focus.
as Todd Howard would say, just works.
Yeah,
It just works.
they didn't go
Yeah.
overboard with the color comp, so they made it. They played the colors that are all in the zone of working with green, and so we get this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah.
the Gusto Griffin, I don't think there's a lot to say about his art. It seems like.
Yeah, no. He's good.
Yeah, he's a Griffin. This is a level 2 winged beast, 800 attack, 300 defense. If this card is sent from the hand to the graveyard, you can special summon one Gusto monster from your deck. You can only use this effect of Gusto Griffin once per turn. So just
like
sent
I
from
s-
hand to graveyard.
So, in terms of current prog, a little bit difficult to use. In current day, this is one of your main cards that you have to get.
Yeah, because that's a summon any Gusto monster from your deck.
Yes.
I think what Konami was thinking at the time was the balancing point was that Gustos don't really inherently send from hand to graveyard a lot.
Yeah. And it's a lot of, I think, the out of archetype stuff that allows you to send from hand to do stuff
But
that enables.
once you put that in there, the fact that this guy is at least once per turn a free body, plus you probably pitched him for cost for some other effect. This is a good
Yeah.
advantage engine.
Yes, that effect does read if this card, not when this card.
If
So
not
it
when, and
doesn't-
then it's sent, so it doesn't matter if it's discarded for cost, if it's destroyed. If you take it from your hand and you put it in the graveyard, you get to special summon a Gusto monster from your deck.
Oh yeah, no. If you hand destruction it while you have 3 in your hand, congratulations.
Hand destruction, I believe, would have been popular in this time period.
Yeah,
Let's
So,
see. This guy's from the
that
same
was
set.
kind of about the only way was hand destruction, card destruction, exactly that I could reliably pop them with.
I mean,
at
Dark World
current-
dealings, but yeah.
Yeah, Dark World dealings too. But yeah, no, as a modern card, he's very important.
So, let us bring up this guy. So this is the second, technically, Dai Gusto, which came out in the whatchamacallit, the Hidden Arsenal 7.
Yep.
You can play it in Gusto, even though this is very much a Gem Knight monster, which is why I presume it has appeared in the anime of Arc V.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is an anime art. This is a card you've probably heard of because in the TCG anyway, He's banned. Or he's limited.
And also we just banned him in our own term.
Yeah. He's limited, actually, in the
Yeah.
OCG currently. Unlimited in the OCG, though. I believe it has been banned before, though. But yeah, this card is restricted because this is one of those generic rank 4s. Art-wise, I mean, I gotta be honest, other than the fact that he's kind of a lightish green, this is just a Gem Knight. Like, I guess there's a Gusto crest in his, like, joints.
This is pretty much, if you were to pitch to somebody, okay, combine Gusto and Gem Knight, this is pretty much what you would get out.
Like, he's got the logo, and the color palette, I guess, but literally everything about this guy is like, I'm a Gem Knight.
The weirdest thing about it is that Boar just looks like, I could see this more as like a Gusto or like a Gusto person just wearing Gem Knight armor themed after Gusto with a wing pack or something.
I mean, that's possibly what it is, though this is a rock, by the way, so I think it's a Gem Knight first.
Okay, so it's a Gem Knight just, I guess, shaped by Gusto energy or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But make no mistake, I do like this. This is...
Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with Emerald. When we eventually do Gem Knights, though, Konami has announced more Gem Knight support, so guess what? The Gem Knight fail portrayal gets shunted off another month or two.
Can I call? I want to call what they're gonna give them.
I mean, they've already shown it, so...
Oh, they have?
Yeah.
Is it a brilliant fusion that is actually archetype locked?
Yes, literally.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
also,
there's like 2 other cards, but the new spell is called Scatter Fusion, is literally a continuous, which lets you send from deck, but you're locked into Gem Knights for the rest of the turn, I believe.
It's all specials or Gem Knights.
Yeah,
also,
so it's brilliant fusion, but fair.
There's also a bridge card between Melodious and Gem Knights.
Well, that already existed.
Yeah.
It's just this is just the other one.
Rose.
Now they have Brilliant Rose. It's a rose, but white and crystal. So they decided to double down on that one.
They also made Brilliant Rose Mistress, like Diamond or something, or like.
No, it's Brilliant Lady Diamond, because it's like Lapis plus Lady Diamond. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. But there's new Gem Knight support. Not in the Duelist of the Pyroxene pack, by the way. That we have confirmed will have more Amazon-S monsters, and judging by the pack cover, we'll have more Morphtronics, probably. There's a new version of Power Tool on it, so I assume...
So we're going to do Amazon's not this year.
Yeah, probably not soon. I want to do that one sometime, but they just added like 5 more of them. And so we will need to wait for card arts.
They're actually decent monsters too.
Oh yeah, I mean they're I think Rada said it best is just Konami's just, especially because they're actually giving them pendulum cards because they were used by some bit characters in Arc V. They're just becoming like Lunalight but Earth. And Earth Warrior but Lunalight is probably decent. Like that's a decent niche to have.
It's better than Warrock.
Fair enough.
Warrock has a niche.
Yeah, it's called sucking up space in your investment portfolio because you bought too many Warrock mounts. Claude.
Warrock is I only know Warrock is a banking firm, you know?
I just genuinely don't know how people thought that would work.
Has no one ever seen that?
I mean, it was a secret. The field spell was a secret rare, which is usually like a pain in the ass for people to buy. And to be fair, the field spell Warrock Mountain does do everything. The problem is that the Warrock monsters do
other cards
nothing.
do anything.
Guys, do you guys know where the bit I'm talking about? I say Warrock.
Yes, I know. Farfa has like 10.
No, the issue. No, another fun thing. You know what people made bank in secret rares? The opposite of the Warrock Mountain investors.
What?
People who invested early in the Flunderies, because I remember when that came out, it was like $1 because it was in Burst of Destiny.
Yeah.
Real quick, if you guys want to just faff for a minute, I do need to use the bathroom real bad.
All right, go for it.
Yeah.
Or we'll talk about what Daigusto Emerald does eventually because it doesn't really. It's kind of Gusto related, but kind of not.
Well, yeah. So its effect reads like it wants to be part of Gusto, but
the problem is you use it much better for other things. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
like
so
I said
we'll
earlier,
get into its effect in a second. But its effect really is a hybrid of Gusto and Gem Knight strategies. But yeah, no. If you're talking about like future card support, yeah. So Duelist of the Pyroxene has been announced and has the cover art. We'll bounce for a second while David is gone.
How many do we have left?
Like 4, including Daigusto Emerald.
Holy
Because
shit.
so this is our last block of like Hidden Arsenal stops coming out after this. There's Pilica who comes out sometime in the Arc V era technically. And then you don't hear from Gustos until 2021. Where they did actually get 2 new monsters, so they are getting legacy support, but they went on the back burner for a long time.
Hey, so I built a deck that's interesting. It lets me first turn out Fossil Dyna Pachycephalo and Barrier Statue of the Droughts. That's fun.
Uh,
Look,
Oh yeah, by the way, we forgot to mention, we should say this. The OCG killed Verte, finally.
Oh, I thought it's April 1st. I'm not sure if it's a joke or not.
Hallelujah.
No, the
Hallelujah.
OCG banned Imperial Order and Verte.
Okay,
Also,
that-
they are
They
limiting.
killed IO too.
Oh wait, there was
Yeah,
actually real?
and they're also limiting the Brave Engine. Water Enchantress and Rite of Aramesir have gone from semi-limited to limited. They've also unbanned Fusion Destiny. They put it back to limited.
Wait. We can try.
The OCG acts. The OCG.
I know, but okay. I guess it's only in American.
Well, we're gonna
Well,
see
no.
when the TCG ban list is.
You
But
know what
the
that
fact that the
tells me,
OCG
though?
went like, you know what? I think Verte might actually be
Oh,
the
right.
problem.
Is it because it's only going to be released on April 1st?
Okay,
I
I'm
keep
back.
thinking about. I'm
Omega,
sorry.
you know what that tells me though?
What?
That fucking Master Duel is going to ban Order, which makes
Probably
me happy,
at some
'cause
point.
It's
That would be
banned on
good.
both. So
Yeah.
fuck that.
I
color.
came across Eldritch yesterday with Imperial Order. It stopped my
Oh,
stopped me using a call by
you know,
on it.
Interesting
Order
they've
is
gone
by
for
far the most
unlimited
rude
metaverse,
card.
and I don't know why Altergeist Multifaker was limited in the OCG, but it's now unlimited.
low alter guys.
The funny thing though is this is you can tell that the
Maybe they'll unlimit
OCG does
Multifaker
things
and
by
Master Duel now.
halves. So they've bumped Night Assailant from limited to semi-limited, and because they're giving him an errata, so he's not loopable. They're putting Trishula to 2. Not sure what the fuck they're smoking there.
Stop doing that. They've done this
Um,
like 5 times, and every time someone figures out how to infinite hand loop for
Mist
5.
Valley, Divine Wind of the Mist
Stop.
Valley is going from limited to semi-limited. They are semi-limiting
That one,
Raigeki. They're not skipping straight to 3 like the TCG did, the Chad TCG.
Wait, hold on. Divine Wind of the Mist Valley. I'm not sure about
They're
that
actually going. They're letting Wind-Up Carriers and Meity go from 1 to 2.
one. But the OCG has Hunter banned.
True.
So I think that's fine.
I was gonna say also look at MBT's unbanned tournament where I think did they unban Carrier?
Yeah,
No,
the
they
second
not,
one of the
yeah.
second times they unbanned Carrier but banned Hunter.
yeah.
But I think the
and-
interesting here things that one of the other things they're letting off is they're putting Harp Horror at 2. But cards they are putting it to is Fractal, Pot of Prosperity, Branded Opening, so one of the new branded cards, and then
already.
Elixir of Scarlet Sanguine is becoming semi-limited. So
Nice.
I'm not quite sure what those mean, but there's some interesting things that are going on in the OCG ban list.
Yeah.
Well,
But now that
just-
David is back, let's talk about Emerald's effect. So Daigusto Emerald is a Rock Xyz, rank 4, generic, 2 level 4s, 1800 attack, 800 defense, so
A
okay.
little small for a rank 4.
Yeah, a little small, though considering that you're making him with 4s, it's not like you're taking a step back at least.
Yeah.
But the reason why
probably not.
he is small is because once per turn you can detach 1 material from this card and then activate one of these effects. You can target 3 monsters in your graveyard, shuffle all 3 into the deck, then draw 1 card, or target a non-effect monster in your graveyard, special summon that target. So this is why this guy is limited, is because he does loops. He lets you recycle and draw 1. So you get to reload
But
your deck.
It doesn't really
So-
do loops.
Not
So
like
honestly-
proper looping, but this is a very easy to make card that lets you go, hey, you know 3 resources I used? Let me shuffle those all back,
No,
draw a new card.
this is definitely one of those cards that is banned in the real ass game that I'm like, this card could probably come back to 1 and not destroy.
Well, it
the
isn't.
metagame.
Yeah.
Dallas, I told you it isn't 1. It says limited and advanced and traditional.
Oh, right, it is at 1.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
at 1.
This is one of those cards that is like not.
But at
Super
3,
crazy.
I would think of the TCG people would be trying too hard to just keep recycling this
wait.
guy. Because
Yeah.
if you can play more than 1, if you get rid of your first Gusto, you can Emerald, you can Emerald your Emerald back so you can Emerald again and keep drawing cards.
Well,
Is that what?
Because it's a soft once per turn.
No, honestly, I think the
Traditional is like
problem
what
with it is the fact that it's a rock monster, and rock can do a lot of dumb things.
There's also that. I mean,
Yeah.
you can do Gallic Granite, obviously, instead and do more rock things. But, yeah, there's a lot of weird shenanigans you could do with this guy. And that's why it has been on the Forbidden Limited list, is because it is a generic rank 4 that very easily, with a soft once per turn, lets you cycle.
Yeah. But as for why he's kind of middling in Gusto, like I said earlier with Musto, he kind of eats into your graveyard recursion resources. Now, granted, he is better if you're playing a Gusto hybrid deck, because
Well, and I will say
you,
he does.
get to
He at the very
shuffle
least does
non-Gustos.
draw, like Calm
Yeah.
style. He lets you cycle back 3, then
Yeah.
draw.
But if you're playing a slightly more pure Gusto, you would rather use Calm so that you keep more resources in the graveyard.
Okay.
So the actual thing I wanted to mention here was, no, he can cycle non-Gustos back as
Yeah.
well. So that allows him to be better in Gusto hybrid decks. The other reason he's not so great in like more pure Gusto is because, like, what are you making him at? Your Thunbolt and your Calm? Like, those are your kind of two main level 4s you're using in pure Gusto. That's why I haven't used them as much. I'm sure
Yeah, the
you
4s
guys
are
that have been
interesting.
doing, that you guys, the guys running the more generic rank 4 decks.
Well, yeah, that's the
That's
problem.
where
Is
he
not why
thrives.
he's not an issue in Gusto, because that's harder
Yeah.
to make. But he is a generic rank 4, which is like the single
Yeah.
most oversaturated bullshit zone of Xyz monsters is rank 4s.
Yeah.
Made it
Yeah,
pure
no.
bullshitium.
It's not the most bullshit extra deck monster type, because I will fight to the death that is generic Link 1s, but it's up there.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, Xyz still has the record holder for most bans,
Yeah.
but it's not
Yeah.
it's
It's
not
true,
just
but-
rank 4s. But yeah,
I think most of
Xyz
the band Xyz aren't rank 4s, though, actually.
Xyz are still like one of the most like
Yeah.
annoying extra deck types, because they are. I've talked about this, how I think Konami like swings back and forth on the pendulum between like complex extra deck summoning and easy extra deck summoning. Like Synchro, slightly complicated. You sometimes need specific materials, especially for early synchros, and you need specific math. You have to do your lines right, otherwise you can't make the combos you want. For Xyz, the next type, it's literally just put 2 monster with same level on field.
Like how many? I'm
4.
just thinking about it, how many rank 1s and 2s is this? Because I remember there being like it's like 430 something rank 4s, or is it like 137 rank?
There's probably
4s?
not that
Also-
many, but Link 1s and 2s are very common because,
Also-
like I said, the pivot for Link is also but simple. 2 monsters.
I did just check. There are only 4 band rank 2 rank 4s, and there's 1 band 3 rank 4.
But yeah,
And 2 of them were just because they're Zodiac cards, and those
True.
I don't count those as generic rank 4s.
well, they're
yeah,
one
no.
rank, so they're just annoying.
They're their own thing.
But still, there's a fuck ton of rank 4s, and several of them have seen places on the Forbidden Limited list in the past.
True.
And you know, the ones that are still on there are the ones that are truly degenerate, like Shockmaster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Rangaminiad,
which-
Shockmaster,
Yep.
Which
Lava Chain, and then the 2 Zodiacs.
But
oh, and Ptolemaeus, but that's only because Infinity.
but like
yeah.
still, I think going through that line logic there, Pendulum is also complex. You have to have 2 scales that you have to have level out correctly, because if you fuck up your scales, you fucked up your Pendulum summoning, possibly
And
forever.
likely killed yourself.
Yes, because you've jammed up the works and you will not recover. It's like when you go to make a Synchro and you realize you've done the math wrong and your levels are incorrect, and you just go, well, I'm
yes.
fucked.
When I play synchro decks, it's why I have to like spend like at least like 20
Yeah.
seconds looking at the
Fun fact:
Whereas-
Pendulum are tied with fusions as least represented on the.
And Link monsters are the other Pendulum, to do that joke, swing back, where they're just like, no, just for Links, the best Links are the one that just need a guy, 1 monster. hopefully one effect monster or one monster not including a token, but some of them still are just one guy.
I hope not
Or
to
two
be
guys.
rude, but I need to get going shortly. So can we get to the next
No,
one?
it's okay. We're almost done.
Yeah.
We have 3 left.
Yep.
And so I was actually wrong about our next one here. This is Pilica, Descendant of Gusto. That was still late Xyz era.
Yes, because I
let me
traded
make
2 of them off you guys and then ran it into you guys that week.
So this is Pilica. She is a small Gusto.
She
She
looks
is
like a
fluffy.
sad child, which she probably is.
Well, it's probably
She-
because her mom is dead,
Yeah.
and
yeah,
her
Well,
dad is
everything
probably
is
very
dead.
sad.
she is the
Who killed her
descendant
mom?
of Gusto. She is the child of Kamui and Reese, I
Reese.
believe.
Yeah.
I don't think her mom is dead, is she?
Look at that green penguin,
I
though.
don't think her mom is around in the spiritual beast tamers.
I don't remember seeing her in the card
Well-
artwork of
Well, Kamui's like
'cause,
really old though. So.
because Kamui, you may notice in her staff, Kamui gave this to her. It's got Falco carved in it because Falco took a bullet for Kamui, which is why he's still alive and why he can become Shadow Falco later. Don't worry, he gets better. It's okay.
Yeah,
He-
no.
I mean, yeah, all the shadows get undone eventually.
But
Well,
I don't think all of them do. Some of them do actually
No.
get destroyed.
Most of them.
no, only a few of them do.
This reminds me
Um,
of the dumb thing of how Winda literally destroyed the universe. God.
Well, she had the god power and also the Shadal power, so they
Well,
did some things. Anyway,
I mean,
Pilica-
Omega, you just said the same thing twice.
Anyway,
I mean
so
different ones. Probably. I don't. The way they handled Shadal Winda in the Klee Master Duel thing was a little weird. Anyway, Pilica is small and fluffy. She has a penguin. The penguin is adorable. Other than that, she looks like a Gusto. She looks like a small girl, which fits Descendant of Gusto. Like,
Yep.
You can tell
She
she's
looks-
related to Reese.
She looks crippling again. Looks like she has anime depression.
possibly because her
She
whole
lives in
tribe
Dual
is
Terminal,
dead.
so yes.
everyone that's
She is
not
a
a monster.
Yu-Gi-Oh! She is a Yu-Gi-Oh! Archetype that is not a one-shot. Then yes.
And so I will say there is an interesting connotation to her name in Japanese. She is Gusto no Shin-e Pilica, so divine descendant of the Gusto. So like keeping with that spiritualism.
She's the next. She's the next heir of the god's power.
So she is a level 3 psychic effect with 1,000 attack, 1,500 defense. When this card is normal or special summoned, you can target one Wind Tuner monster in your graveyard. Special summon that target in face-up defense position. Its effects are negated. If you activated this effect, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn, except wind monsters. You can only use this effect of Pilica, Descendant of Gusto, once per turn. Hey,
it's
can
an
you tell
immediate-
this is legacy support?
It's an immediate
yes.
combo, so just do it anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, this is
You're
a
already
2-card
win luck
synchro.
anyway.
Do you have a tuner
You-
in graveyard? Do you have a wind tuner in graveyard? Oh no, you're locked to wind synchros? Oh my god, it's almost like that's a thing.
Yeah, no.
Obviously,
so,
it wasn't a big thing yet, but Konami doubled down on wind synchro and wind locking synchros with speedroids and wind witches. So
I could play this in a speed road, but it wouldn't be that good because it'd be searchable. So it's like, eh.
I mean, you'd
Yeah.
probably have to do a hybrid deck, which would probably be
I would
awkward
just play
because there's
I would just play
fuck
Yo-Yo.
ton of there's a
Yo-Yo's
fuck
just
ton
better.
of speedroids.
And also, Axe, you're stealing my ideas. Stop it.
I'm allowed to look at a card effect and be like, maybe I can make it work. God damn it.
Also,
But
these were, I believe, secret rare, and I asked you guys.
They
for
were
No, it's a
super
super,
rares.
but it was a super in Primal Origin. I
Yeah.
don't know if
Yeah.
there's a lot in the format though. That was before guaranteed supers.
I got two
So-
of them, and I would traded them immediately.
Yeah, no. Dallas gave me both of his, and I believe those are the only 2 that anyone ever got, unless Robin
I mean,
did
you
when
can
he
still
came back.
super card bank. We can always double check
Yeah.
if Robin or Vesper got some.
People fucking
Yeah.
lied.
But
Yeah, no.
yeah, just like in terms of effect text, you can tell this is a Band-Aid card on, hey, this archetype didn't really go anywhere we wanted yet. So this is just, it's a 3, which is a decent level. You can pick
Yep.
any of your tuners out that are in the graveyard, and you probably have some because of how they work, and so you can combo into different synchros. And then it does wind
Well-
lock you, which is good,
Yeah.
but
No,
it's still got a lot of
completely
flexibility.
fair. Keeps it balanced. So the main thing you're doing with this is you're grabbing Goldo, because that allows you to go into sprees. You then recycle Pilica back to your hand or Goldo back to your hand, depending on what you're trying to do. The other thing that you the other big thing you do with this is instead of synchro summoning, you actually XZs using Pilica and Goldo and go into Leviair. And then you can start recurring some of the stuff from your Banished.
From what I remember, the only Gusto extra deck monster they used was, in fact, Sfreeze. Yeah.
Yeah. I never busted out the Leviair plays, but
and I strongly expect that the reason why she is 3 is so you can facilitate the 6 into Sfreeze, because themes.
Yes. So yeah, no, that's the main line you're supposed to, quote unquote, supposed to do is go into Sfreeze.
So, let's fast forward to the year 2021, the distant future. With Dawn of Majesty, which actually had some Gusto support in there. This is Gusto Vedir. A.k.a. Vedr, the Norse thing.
Yeah.
Or possibly Vesser. It's kind of the same, I think, root as, supposed to be the same root as Vedalfolnir, but there's some weird rares in there. In the Romanji, it's Gusto Vezuru.
It is.
I'll go ahead and
So they went with Vedir. So it sounds vaguely Nordic. It's a Viking bird.
Yeah. No, that's what it looks like.
Actually, didn't think the whole thing like Vikings didn't have horned helmets.
That doesn't mean anything in the terms of Ardax.
I also don't respect Viking culture. And I say that not to be mean to Vikings, but people that are overly into Viking culture are the worst. So I love to piss them off.
I'm Anglo as fuck, but I'm not going to say anything. I'm not Saxon as fuck, though. Or am I?
I'm something. I don't fucking know.
I mean, do you like pillaging the Britons?
I mean, I'm half Irish, so...
I mean...
So, you should get to... We should start singing Black and Tans.
I'm pretty sure 90% of the world hates the British. That doesn't actually do anything.
I mean, to be fair, that is what happens when you have an empire on which the sun does not set. That means there's always somebody to be mad at you, no matter where you are. No matter where you're going, there's somebody who could be annoyed at you.
There's the caveat there.
Yep.
So, do we actually have anything to say about Vedir?
It's just a very.
I think his art is in the upper half of Gusto art, but
I think you can tell that the artist, because this was many years later. The artist for this is like, you can tell they've got better tools because I think the line art is crisper, but it's still very good feel, and they took the smart elements. Like the armor is kind of a yellowy green, which is good. I actually like using the crest in the clear colors. I think it's actually might even be... No, it's not hollow. It's got like a little rivet in the center, but it's still like it matches the color of his fur, which is, white and green. Very good color comp. I think of the specula on like the eyes and the shading got a little better, which is good. Yeah. Effect and stuff wise, Gusto Vedir is a level 3 winged beast tuna. So you got another one now with 600 attack, 1k defense. And this has a pretty spicy effect. So, if a face-up Gusto monster on the field is destroyed by battle or sent to your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. So this is a tuner with a free special, doing a thing that you're going to do in Gusto. Also, by the way, this means synchro climbing very easy. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can send one Gusto monster from your deck to the graveyard. Then you can summon special summon one Gusto monster from your hand. You can only use each effective Gusto Vedir once per turn. So it's hopped both ways, but this is a card that, when you do your Gusto things, is a free special, and then gets you another guy, and then also, does your graveyard setup. This is, again, hey, can you tell this is legacy support, guys?
Yeah.
This is another Band-Aid card that does like 4 things, but it's good. This is another level 3 tuner that does stuff.
Yeah, this is kind of the more important of the stuff that came out, along with the equip spell, honestly. Because that equip spell for Gusto's cracked.
Now, I will say it's interesting, because this is another level 3 tuner. This is clearly not Pilica's familiar. And you know how I know that, guys?
What?
It's the next card.
Yeah. Behold, Daigusto Lampilica with Penguin.
Penguin.
Yep.
Their penguin card.
Right.
Dallas-
Also,
Dallas
getting
is brushing his teeth, but
Is there a
Axe's
penguin
healed.
card?
No.
yes, it's spiritual beast Rampanegu
Rampang-
or something. Yeah, something like
Rampangu.
that. It's a spiritual beast, not a Gusto.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'll say Pilica here has overcome her depression, or at least temporarily. She's
Yeah.
got the termination interface.
Well, because
She's got her game face on.
there was a Zephyra that was
Well, yeah. There's Zephyrin Pilica.
yeah.
I guess
was
so. Yeah.
gonna
I guess
say-
the point is that spiritual beast Rampengu, though he does look slightly different. We'll do spiritual and ritual beasts on our own. It's kind of
I mean,
weird.
his art-
Rampengu
his art
is
might-
kind of a mid stage between the Gusto Pilica and then Zephyra Pilica. Ritual beast tamer Zephyra Pilica is like this but baby mode.
Yeah.
So it's a little interesting.
There's probably a narrative here somewhere.
But this is definitely like more Gusto-y because the bird is even bigger. But it's still funny that there's like I don't believe that. Let me look at him again. Yeah, Rampengu is a level 4 and not a tuner, so it's
Yeah.
funny that they had to make up a new level 3 tuner to go into Lampilica, which is a Sync 6, because
Yeah.
they didn't do that already. Funnily enough.
Yeah.
But like art-wise, it's Pilica on her penguin. I guess the
I think the
lamp is
penguin's
like the
adorable.
aurora behind her.
It's
Maybe.
cute. The penguin's cute. It's like
Yeah.
it's weirdly like slightly majestic looking, a dumb way.
Yeah, it's definitely got some Flunder vibes. I also think that them keeping kind of the simplified lines of the penguin like prevent it from being too derpy because they avoid the problem that some of the other Daigustos have had of being super over designed.
Yeah. No, I agree. Some of them got a little over designed.
So
What's it do?
fairly
I guess,
decent.
For like the older-
Yeah, so this is another Sync 6, as we said. This has... It's Psychic, obviously. It has 1,900 attack, 2,600 defense. That penguin does look pretty fat. So this requires one tuner plus one or more non-tuner Gusto monsters. So it's got the same restrictions. You can only special summon Daigusto Lampilica once per turn. If this card is Synchro Summon, you can special summon one Gusto monster from your hand and one Gusto monster from your deck, but negate their effects. Then immediately after this effect resolves, Synchro Summon one Gusto Synchro monster using only those two monsters. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except wind monsters. Your opponent cannot target other Gusto Synchro monsters you control with card effects. So once again, big Band-Aid energy.
Yes.
Lampilica. God, I hate this name.
Yeah.
Now. It's bad.
Yeah, it's a mouthful.
I'm just gonna say Lampilica. I know that's only like half the name, but it's easier. This has strong synergy.
Most people do anyway.
Yeah. This has strong synergy because it means you can immediately go into another Gusto Synchro. Assuming
Yeah.
your monsters are in the right place. Like, you still gotta have one in your hand, but you get one into the deck. Arguably, this means that you can probably go into Falco's pretty easily.
Yeah.
And that would certainly embiggen some of your boys, but you don't have to. You can also go into other ones that matter, and I think that's the flexibility of Lampilica here. You get to kind of pick and choose what your best synchro for the moment is. And
except that, nowadays, kind of like I said earlier, your main game plan is trying to get to that OTK line.
yeah, there are definitely some interesting options there, but at the very least, this is a decent addition to Gusto 6.
Oh yeah, no, it
gives you
it's
more
not
options. It gives you protection, which is something which, by the way, none of the Gustos have had until now. At least
Yeah.
on their persons. We haven't really gotten into any of their spell traps, and I should probably drag up Poisonous Winds, which
Yeah,
isn't
I
really
would
related
say
to them, but that's got a
Poi-
card art we want to look
It
at.
shuts down. That card's actually really good as an anti-wind card.
It
Kind of
is, but also if you're playing it, fuck you.
But the let's see, you've got Blessings, Contact, Duststorm, Tailwind, Whirlwind.
I will say that most of them boil down to shuffle two guys back, do a thing. Contact is destroy a card. Duststorm
So Blessings lets you shuffle back 2 and summon 1. Contact is, as you said, shuffle 2 in your deck, then destroy an opponent's monster. Duststorm is your opponent can activate cards or effects when Gustos declare attacks this turn. So that's just
and Contact is actually any one card, not any monster.
I believe you mentioned that, but Tailwind is also a new card that was just that was also in Dawn of Majesty, the equip.
Yeah, it basically lets you fish out.
Yeah, currently a Gusto monster. The equip monster can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effect, so that's the protection I was also talking about. And then you can only use the following effects once per turn. You can banish this card from your graveyard and discard 1 wind monster to add a Gusto spell trap. So it gives you searching, and then you can activate this effect following based on the level/rank of the equipped monster. 4 or lower, special summon a Gusto monster from your deck with a different type from the equipped monster, so it lets you fish out Synchro plays again. 5 or higher, special summon a level 1 tuner from your deck, so it lets you Synchro climb easier.
Yes. And so, that level 4 or lower effect of getting a different type means that if you put it on your Psychic type, you're fishing out one of your Wing Beast tuners. Put it on a Wing Beast tutor, you're fishing out one of your Psychic non-tuners.
And then, while you can't activate it the same turn, it has a graveyard effect, so it kind of gets around the fact that you're presumably going to be Synchroing, which means you destroy it.
Yes.
So they've got a decent amount of spell trap support.
Yeah, and if it just stays up, because you put it on someone big and they just interrupt it or whatever, but still leave it equipped, it does prevent the monster from being destroyed by card effects. So that's not bad.
So this, I think, will be our last card art for the night. This is Poisonous Winds. As you can see, actual war crimes happening.
Where did the Poisonous Winds come from?
Noelia.
Gishki.
She probably has an evil jug she just dumps out.
Okay.
Yeah,
yes, the Gishki pot gas.
Thanks for that image, Loth.
I
But he's probably not that far off.
Flooding their lands with poisonous winds so that they either escape or die. So yeah, she just does evil magic.
Yeah. And I think it was because, well, like you said, she was trying to access the temple.
Yeah.
I was going to say, they had some kind of resource, but... Oh, wait, no, it was the temple.
They had the temple. It's got Sophia in it, which Noelia wants access to for some reason. Yeah. Nothing good. So this is a continuous spell card. Wind monsters can't be special summoned. All face-up wind monsters on the field lose 500 attack. You have probably seen this occasionally in side decks when people are getting feisty. It is certainly, if there is a meta-relevant wind deck you're concerned about for any reason. I don't know. There might be one. Consider side deck. It prevents special summoning, and it makes them smaller.
Yeah, if you specifically want to... It won't necessarily stop Flunder, because they don't necessarily
They don't special, but they are a big bungus deck, so the 500 might actually disrupt some of their plays if they don't choose to pop it.
I mean, they also try to cheat out, statues, so...
Well, yeah, no, it would stop them from going into... It would have stopped them, anyway, from going into Simorg.
And also... I believe Lyrilusks are also mostly wind.
Yeah, and it probably stops some Tri-Brigade. Probably not much, but are they all Earth or?
I believe Nerval is a winged beast wind.
I know.
I was gonna say, I imagine their winged beasts are wind.
It's like Cat's Fire. I think there's a Cat's
Cat's Fire. Nerval is winged beast. Yeah.
Okay.
Fractal is fire, and Karos is earth. Ferigi is earth. Is Shirag wind? He might be dark, you know.
I think he's dark. He's a Tengu, so...
Yeah, okay.
He's also the Ominous Omen.
Yeah.
It's not perfect,
so
but
it doesn't...
Definitely, if you're fighting a Lyrilusk package, that is like a meta deck you may actually be getting beat up at your locals. Consider Poisonous Winds. It was a common in Photon Shockwave. You can hopefully find some of them, though it hasn't been reprinted in a long time.
And also, like we said too, if you're getting beat up by Virtual World, some of their stuff's wind as well.
I mean,
at the very least, it is something that requires your opponent to get rid of it if you put it up.
Yeah. And
But yeah, that's our last note there. That probably means next time it'll be Lava Val 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 Lava Val Val.
Lava. Or Lava. Lava plus.
But also Lavalval. Because that's also... Lavalval has Laval in them.
I think
great
it's
how that
just
works.
lava plus vol plus L plus something else.
Well, it's laval, like larval, but also lava. And then,
I
but
know.
some of them are lavalval. But
Yes.
I don't know
Lavalval
why
and
they went
Laval.
lavalval, but that means you can go
Omega,
laval.
Do you want to know the reason?
Why?
Because fuck you.
Fair enough.
As
Anyway,
far as we can tell, that's the reason.
anyway,
I wonder if it's a Japanese pun.
probably not. Though the name would have to be different because of the way the V is. Anyway,
It's not,
doesn't
though,
matter.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wait, can I talk? Because I accidentally muted myself. I was going to talk about poisonous winds.
Oh, sure.
Oh yeah, no, go ahead.
It's actually very relevant in modern the modern
Yeah.
metagame.
As we said.
No, like more than that. Like I would honestly, because one of the most common cards played ever right now is Baron de Fleur,
Oh yeah,
Ooh,
no, it
it's
would
not true.
stop.
and she is wind.
If you're,
It,
I mean,
it would also,
I would
it
say
would
this
also
is
stop,
this is an unsearchable
clear
continuous.
wings.
This
Sure.
is an unsearchable continuous. I don't know if it's a really good idea to side deck against, just in case your opponent's
But
playing
also
Synchron.
synchron decks do play through a lot of wind lines.
Yes,
Yeah.
Stardust is several of the Stardusts are wind.
The
Stardust,
the crystals, or the clear wings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Synchro
I
Dragon.
also think a lot of like synchro decks don't really have a way besides dedicating themselves to having macro pops. Outside of other
I
cards
mean,
that-
I'm sure they still have options. I mean, if nothing else, Coral Dragon is discard one, send back.
Yeah.
And that's
yeah,
a
but
very
it means
common.
they have to go that line instead of the other way. But yeah.
It also is pretty decent against like the pile, because I believe there are parts of pile that are just chunks of wind right now.
Well, yeah, and a lot of
Oh,
It's
yeah.
very hard to
synchro
side
pile
deck
decks
right
go
now.
into. Yeah, so like, it's common.
It
it's
would
decent-
it would stop Griffin Rider.
Yeah, it does stop Griffin Rider.
Yeah, that's a decent element.
You could side deck against Punk. You just
So
make it feel
it's-
even worse.
It's a. You probably don't have to worry about that until at least they get whatever their newest support is. But yeah, so it's a card you should consider in your modern metagame. Whenever wind is happening, being able to tell wind, no, you can't special summon, also get smaller. It can be a very effective card, but it is
Like,
definitely
worst comes
a
to
side
worst,
deck card.
It is a budget side deck option, because a lot of side deck tech cards are expensive.
Yes.
Nowadays,
This was printed
it-
as a common, so hopefully you can find it for cheap.
like
It's
honestly,
like rivalry. If you
we're
don't
only-
care about
we-
what
we-
kind of version you're getting, it's cheap as shit.
we
And
just
also
need the-
yell at Konami to give us a part 2
You can only get
of
one
Hidden
version.
Arsenal reprint so that we can get this at.
Oh, I'm sure they will, considering that thing like got marked up over MSP for a while. People want those
Yeah.
dual terminal rares. They're gonna do another Hidden Arsenal chapter, I'm sure.
I would say
I think
like
there are even
if
some more some
only,
imports they haven't done.
If
Yeah.
only like speedroids became really good again, and that means that everyone will be just running.
I mean,
this and
speedroids are
Let me finish the
decent.
sentence, please.
Okay.
You're just gonna bemoan about how speedroids are bad, but they're not actually.
No, I was gonna say that everyone's just gonna run like this and system down in their side deck at 3. Just like, okay, sure, go ahead.
I was just
I
gonna
don't
say,
Don't think Poisonous Winds will just be wrong. Speedroids would be trying to get something else.
no, yeah.
I mean, unless you go into the variants, I'm still just gonna because you have all those bouncing effects. I'm still just gonna. I once again, every time I build a new deck, I've built like 5 decks, and I want to leave this fucking stream so I can test them because it's been
Okay.
2.5 hours. Thank you for
Yeah.
continuing to drag us on here, but I'm just constantly every side deck 3 system down. It will never not be good. I'm convinced. But yeah, so that was Gusto. We hope you've enjoyed this one. If you didn't already watch the Master Duel stream I did, you can see me stumble through the weather as I have to read intently. I have to read a fucking novel to play that deck.
It's weird that like I was
Yeah.
okay at reading cards. Maybe I'm just good at reading cards. I guess or something. I'm not sure.
Actually, I think what it is you're more patient in the middle of a duel because you're not streaming them, and you don't have to, like, every 5 minutes go, I'm sorry I'm not talking, guys. I have to read a lot. I'm sorry nothing is happening.
I mean,
As
that's
someone who
that's
played
the
through
power
that,
of other people in your voice
no.
call.
Weather is painful. Like,
Yeah, whether
I mean, mostly, like I said, they just they needed to put their new link they announced in the game because, like I said, their link can send spell traps as materials. That would let me unclog my fucking back row so I could actually use some of these cards. Like, honestly, some of the most trouble I had, other than just straight up rage quitting the True King one, because I was like, well, every single time my opponent draws a perfect hand, that gets him monsters that are better than literally every other monster I own. So I'm going to brute force this off stream. But playing just the generic weather deck with shit like Hall of Valhalla and Celestial Transformation, I'm like, okay, cool. These cards are cool. Wait, no, they're not. They're just dead cards when I draw them after turn 1.
I've yet to play the True Draco one, and I'm going to hate it. So I've chosen not to yet.
Also, why are they fighting True Draco?
Well, it's
No,
because it's
it is a
remember,
True
David,
Draco
everything is half
weather deck.
mirror matches.
Well,
True
yeah,
Draco lets you tribute continuous spell traps.
Yeah, no, True Draco Weather was actually a deck that makes sense.
I mean, it's like I said. Somebody asked me like, what? Somebody said in our Discord, why the fuck would you run Hamon or Uriah in Weather? I'm like, you do not understand Yu-Gi-Oh players. Every single deck that has involved heavy use of continuous spell traps, has been like, and I can plug a Hamon engine in here, or yeah, I can plug Uriah into this. Like, everybody has seen those back rows.
Hamon is definitely more so because Uriah, you kind of, to make it work, you kind of have to go all the way.
Well, yeah, but that's still the thing, though, right? Like, there are decent continuous traps, and then that also means you can floodgate. So, like,
Yes.
but yeah,
No.
it's still like, that's a thing since the Sacred Beasts have come out that Yu-Gi-Oh players have just been like, I can do that.
And the people look at Raphael and just go, no.
Yeah, Raziel requires a Fiend deck, which isn't as cool. But all right, so
Yeah.
this has been Fail Portrayal. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Like I said, go ahead and roll back and check out the Master Duel stream if you hadn't. Stay tuned for Prague this week. It will exist. It's going to be an unbanned week, so that'll be fun.
It'll be happening tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh boy, here we go.
I get to super card bank afterwards for my Odd Eyes Fusion Dragon.
I
I'll
also
figure out
get
what
to
I-
finally get Dark Lady.
Yeah, I know, right?
I
I gotta figure out what I'm gonna super card bank for.
Same here, actually. But yeah,
I got some
I'll
secret
be
cards
going.
I can pitch. But anyway, stay tuned for Prague. We did have a Prague last week. You should check it out. It was pretty good. It was the 8-man. I think my volume bump down on me in the end did work because nobody has complained about how loud I was. Yes, I rolled myself down. I rolled that section down in the edit to like 80%.
Looking back at it, it's like, I know I did some misplays against Omega in my duel against him, but there was nothing I could do.
No, I think it was like there was a little bit of misplay, but I don't think it mattered ultimately. It was just,
Yeah,
a
like
good match, boy. Like I said, I was. Some people may think that Marth choosing to run Heraldics was a suboptimal choice. I fell on the edge of my seat all the time in all of my duels because I was like, this person is one card away from a full-blown recovery, and I may die.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. I could have actually beat you that second game if I just used Dark Hole instead of Tag Team with Blind City, but yeah.
All right.
I don't know, I
Because
feel
I
like I
had-
just got murdered.
Because I had.
But I mean, you got Shrek because
Pendulum.
Pendulum is good. Anyway,
Because I had Advanced Heraldry Arts.
we're going to end the Fail Portrayal here. I want to get some test games in, so we'll see you guys later.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. Don't forget to
Yeah.
like, comment, and subscribe.
Omega.
Check out our Prague series, and consider supporting me on Patreon and other stuff. Okay, cool. Goodbye, everybody.
I was challenging Omega.